This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, Phil All Caps of the Knicks Nightcap, back with another episode. And I'm looking forward to this one because since the last time we talked, and I feel like we say that a lot recently as Knicks fans, but since the last time we talked, a lot has happened. And I'm excited because I got my guy Apollo back with me. You know, he was celebrating, living La Vida Loca last week up in New York City, so he wasn't able to come here as he was living his best Ricky Martin life up north. But now that he is back and the snow has kept him from any excuses, he's got to be inside. It's freezing out. He's back and he's going to be here to rock it with me and our beautiful panel, aka Al from Harlem, who's got a glow up. You'll see it very, very soon. One thing I love about this guy is as soon as I said, "Hey, let's get your things looking right," he said, send me what I need. Let's do it. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring up first and foremost our guy Apollo. We can find out how his birthday was and go from there. So without further ado, the man, the legend, make you want to guard up. All right, Apollo.
What's going on, bro?
Yeah,
How you
bro.
doing, man? I'm good.
I'm good, man. How are you? So tell
Been a-
people about
been a while.
your little vacay, little family time.
So last week, my wife and I went up to New York. We got there on Tuesday night, and we just, basically we just went to sleep. Wednesday, we got up, got dressed, had a nice little time out, and then we went down to the city. We went to Madison Square Garden. We were in Jersey, so we took the train to Penn Station. Went in that way, and then I think that's the game where the Brooklyn Nets were there. That was the first game of the win streak. So that was good to see in person. I mean, it wasn't the most hype game because there was nothing really going on. They weren't fighting back at all. So yeah, I mean, everybody was pretty quiet, but yeah, it felt good to be there. I felt like I'm a part of what transpired. You know what I mean? That got this when the streak started, and then the next game happened, and we were driving back. I think this was sometime Saturday, and you were driving through Philly, and we drove right past the arena that the Philadelphia Sixers arena, and I'm like, oh, okay, the Knicks are there right now. Isn't that something? So that's 2 games in a row. I gave us some good luck. So take a little bit of credit with that. But yeah, man, it was good. Yeah, I had fun. It was a good it was a great trip. My wife planned, so shout out to the wife as always. She's always coming through for me. And I
love that.
Man, I got to see some family and got to see Dre. It's been a minute since I've seen Dre in person. But yeah, man, it was a good trip. It was a good trip, good break, and can't wait to go back.
I love that, man. It's funny because we say like it was the start of the win streak. It's like it was the Nets, like that's why we, when we had that like show right after, I was like, all right, we're not gonna celebrate yet. Like after a 9-game losing streak, we're not gonna I said it best on last week's show. I said, listen, I was skeptical about raising a banner for the NBA Cup. I'm definitely not going to start raising a banner because we beat the Brooklyn Nets when they're god awful. But I'm excited because we actually have some things to celebrate and to talk about, which is good for Knicks fans. So before we bring up Al, I want to give a shout out to those that are already in the chat. Jay-Z Beers or Jay's Beers? Jay's Beers? Either way, Jay Beers, appreciate you so much for being here. Rah 4268, appreciate you as well. Hey, Dope Soul, what is up, Queen? Thank you so much for being in the building. You anytime you want to come up on the open panel today, Queen, you come up at any time throughout the episode. It is an open invite for you throughout the episode. I'm actually going to put the link right there right now so that you can come up on any of the topics and spit your facts. So shout out to all of you guys for being here right now. Thank you to everyone that's locked in. If you guys can, please hit the retweet button, reshare on Instagram. It helps every single person that gets their eyes on the show. It's just a blessing to get more and more people rocking with us. I was on a show the other day that was a blast. It was me, Lee, and Fritz just talking about this whole Giannis thing. And the chat went crazy. Daytime chat is crazy. I forgot how like crazy afternoon Knicks fans can get. Like there was, over 1,000 people rocking with us on that episode. So shout out to everybody for that. But I'm excited because right now we're going to bring up my guy, Al. Some of y'all know Al, some of y'all don't. But Al recently joined us as our prestige panel because he's just a great, great guy. And we had him show once and we needed to have him multiple times. So shout out to my guy Prezi in the building. Appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you all for the love on the hats. Apollo's looking fresh right now. I'm looking fresh right now. And we're going to bring Al up because 3 is a crowd, but sometimes we like a crowd. So looking so fresh, looking so clean with his new setup. Let's give it up for my guy and your soon to be favorite of the panel, my guy, Al from Harlem. What up? What up? What up?
What up, man? Happy to be here. Yo, Apollo, happy belated, man. I hope you had a good time in New York.
Please appreciate you, bro. I had a great time, man. I had my speaking of Al from Harlem, I had my Harlem jersey on that I got from that what's his name? Academics.
Mathematics, athletic.
Yeah, mathematics. Yeah, I had that on one of those days when I was out there. I had to rock that.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And thanks for
I love those
out
dudes,
of that streak.
Yeah, word. Yeah, I was almost what I had today. That'd have been crazy. It would have been like twins.
That would have been crazy.
So Al, how's dad life, bro?
Yo, yesterday we had a breakthrough, man. Baby slept from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. So it's a clean 6 hours.
Wow. Praise God.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's huge. Well, nice. Wow. For those of y'all that have never had kids, that is monumental. Like that is groundbreaking at this age. So shout out to the baby. That's the real champion of the night right here.
Real.
Because letting you sleep, that is a treasure that you don't really get. So shout out to the baby. Shout out to the baby.
Start up another winning streak, hopefully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves yet. All right. We'll figure out if we're gonna see any winning streaks coming up, but we got a lot to talk about. So first, I want us to break in and I'm looking forward to this episode a little bit later on. One of my favorite brands in the whiskey scene will be joining us. And the reason I say they're one of my favorites is because they're very innovative. And I love innovation. So they do things that a lot of brands, just wouldn't risk doing. And that's one reason that I like them. So we will be bringing up a group called, a guy that represents the brand Good Times. And they'll be rocking with us. So that'll be a little bit later on in the show. He's actually hooping right now. And then he's going to join us in a little bit. But, let's talk about not the game that was against Brooklyn, because we talked about that enough. And I don't really want to highlight that too much because I'm not that impressed by that. But let's talk about the game before that. I mean, the game after that. The big one for us was the Sacramento Kings game. And the reason I say it's a big game is not because Sacramento is this elite team that we have to hold ourselves to that standard, but the Sacramento Kings beat the living bejesus out of us, and it wasn't until garbage minutes that we came back last time. So we won this game 103-87. What were you guys' thoughts initially on that game? Like bonus takeaways, whether good or bad. And then we can go through player by player and see exactly what the game looked like. But I'll throw it to you first, Al. What was your thoughts watching that game against Sacramento the other night?
The big thing that I've noticed, and this is going to carry for the whole winning streak, is just the defense has been insane, right? Like one of the things that I was harping on when we got Mike Brown was like, is he a offensive coach or is he a defensive coach? I'm not really sure. And I've never been worried about the Knicks offense. I've always been saying like these guys got to get it together defensively, and it's going to sound cliche, but defense wins championships, right?
Mhm.
So I've been looking for the defense to step up, and my God, have they finally stepped up? So on a macro level, the defense was super, super impressive and has been throughout this win streak. But you know what? I can't help but keep noticing that, and I'm sorry because it's going to be a little negative. I can't help but keep noticing that Cat is kind of like not stringing together like gaudy numbers like we're used to him doing, but we're winning without him doing
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about Cat in detail because that is a big topic for us as Knicks fans right now. And I'm trying to get this layout right. I don't know what's happening. I'm going to keep it like this, even though it looks mad crazy on Instagram right
And then
now.
I think
So
during the Kings game, I think he got benched at the end of the game, and they went with Mike Brown went with Mitch Robinson, which was also pretty telling. So yeah, we've been winning kind of without Cat going crazy, which is interesting.
yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit because Cat is a huge topic of conversation, unfortunately, for these last few weeks and will continue to be. So what are your thoughts, Apollo, on, what you saw in that game?
Well, it was clear to me that DeRozan was on a mission. I guess he was trying to break his record in the Garden. Because I was actually watching I forgot where it was. I was watching the Sacramento stream. So they were talking. I guess they were talking to DeRozan before the game, and they were like, "What is your career high in this building?" And he was like 47, and then he started looking up, and then he said, "I guess he's gonna try to break that record tonight." And I'm like, "Okay, oh well, I guess he's on a mission to do that." So clearly, if you watch the game, he was almost taking every shot at every shot at some point.
Yeah.
And I think that for the Kings took them out of rhythm, and we kind of wanted that to happen. You know what I mean? And that played into our favor. It worked out for us, and we started to, like you said, started to defend well. We kept everybody else pretty much out of the game. I mean, Sabonis got to the line a couple times, but it was one of those games where you can see like they started to click a little bit more. Like, and we can, like you said, we'll talk about other guys at some point about it, but they're starting to string together some chemistry, which has been to me the biggest issue with that losing streak that we had.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the fact that, because I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I also want to be as realistic as possible when it comes to what we're currently seeing. And for me, one of the frustrating things was that until that fourth quarter, I didn't see a contending team in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't until the fourth quarter where we actually took it to the next level that we started to have that space between us and the Kings. It was kind of toe to toe for quite a while. And when you look at it, this is one of the few games that we've been fully healthy. Shamit's back. Everyone was playing. Mitch was there. Towns was there. JB, Hart, OG, Mikhail. We were all there. And yet they were still missing Zach LaVine. So regardless of Zach LaVine being a shell of himself compared to before, he's still an offensive threat. He still will put up buckets. He's not going to help you much defensively, but he's going to put up buckets. And so the fact that it was that close for most of the game was still a little bit upsetting to me to see that even without Zach LaVine, they could still contend for 3 quarters against the Knicks. And that was frustrating and telling to me because it reminded me of January. And our biggest thing with January was that teams that should not be contending with us were contending with us and beating us. And so that to me, I'm still looking at it and I'm like, okay, so we won, but at the end of the day, it's not like the Kings are contenders. The Kings are not contending for a championship this year. They're not even contending for a play-in at this point. You know, they are second worst team in the league with 12 wins and 36 losses. Or third worst team, because we still have the Wizards that will always be the worst team. But at the end of the day, this is a team that we should be beating. If we want to contend with the teams that are contenders, the Detroits, the Boston Celtics, the Oklahoma Cities, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Rockets, if we want to actually be able to compete with those guys, we should not be struggling with the Kings in two outings with the Kings within the same month. Like, we should not have that be even a semi-close game for 3 quarters of basketball. Like, it should have been a little more closer to what we saw in that Nets game than what we actually saw against the Sacramento Kings. So that to me was a little bit frustrating. Any thoughts on that, guys?
No, that's a very, very valid point. They are not a good team. You know, the fact that it took us that long, and that's been an that's another issue we can talk about, is the fact that it seems like a pattern now that we really don't start playing until the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? And that's been something that the coach has been speaking out about from a couple weeks now. He's like, we can't keep waiting until the fourth quarter to start playing basketball. You know what I mean? Even though we're winning. He said it during wins before. So that's a very valid point, man. Very valid point.
So
I kind of expected them to play us a little bit tough. I think they have a big mismatch with DeRozan. We struggle to defend him. He always cooks us, I feel like. I saw him hunting McBride a bunch. Like, McBride is like so small compared to him. He was just turning around, shooting right over him. Josh Hart's too small for him. Mikal Bridges is too light for him. The only one that could really maybe stop him is OG. And OG wasn't having a good game that day. He only had 15 points. He had 7 turnovers that game. So it wasn't a good day for him. And Josh Hart didn't really play that well either. So I kind of knew that was going to happen for whatever reason. But look, if you look at it at the end of the day, they only scored 87 points, and that's damn good.
Yeah. But there's another point. Okay. Talk about how DeRozan cooked us. If you looked at DeRozan's numbers and they looked similar to, you know, a good Mikal game, it makes sense. But the fact that DeRozan still cooked us while he was shooting 14% from 3 and 50% in total, that still says a lot. Like,
he was at the free throw line all game.
Yeah, you're pretty much letting one guy on their team destroy our whole team. Like, one guy. Like, no one else was really doing anything. The closest person point-wise to him was Russell Westbrook, who was shooting even like horrendous numbers, 31% for the whole game, and he had 14 points. So the fact that it was even as close as it was with one scorer on their team says a lot. Because you're like, okay, you can leave everybody else open. Just guard DeRozan at this point. And we still could not do that. Like, they were pretty much playing like 5-on-1 offensively, and we still couldn't stop them.
Here's one more tidbit to make you. Here's one other tidbit just to make you a little bit more upset about it. The Kings were on the second night of a back-to-back.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So we were fresh as can be, you know, like, and yes, I know people say a win is a win, but I'm starting to think we're at a point in the season where it's not just a sloppy win is a sloppy win. Like, we want to make this our year. We're talking about championship year. It has to be more than we can beat the Kings. Like, okay, what else though? Like, what else are we going to do as an organization?
And we were on the front end of a back-to-back, so you would have really wanted to put the beats on them so guys could rest.
Yep, exactly. And so you weren't able to do that. And we're going to talk about what you guys both brought up because you can't ignore the elephant in the room on that game. And that elephant was Karl Anthony Towns. It's hard because you don't want to sound like a broken record where you're constantly having to talk about the same player every episode in this kind of light, but you kind of have to when you're going up against the Kings, who we are saying they don't really have like a guy that can stop Karl Anthony Towns. Like they shouldn't, at least. And yet Karl Anthony Towns had 17 points, but shot 33% from the night. And a lot of the points that he got were hard to watch. Very hard to watch. For anyone who says that Cat is soft, I've tried to like back and be like, nah, he's not soft. Like, and then over time, I'm like, all right, he's a little soft. All right, he's charming. All right, now he's just like, the bottom shelf Walmart toilet paper, So this is the play that kind of set me over the top. All right, this one right here, and I'm gonna share it with you guys.
I already know what you're gonna do.
Because it was frustrating. It was super, super frustrating. So I'm gonna share my screen with this one right here. All right. So I'm gonna turn off the volume so I don't get us in trouble.
I remember this play.
But come on, this should have never happened. Like it. Look at Russell, like pretty much taunting Cat after, like, you're too small for Russell Westbrook to be saying that. And look at these faces, like that. Karl. The next day was actually pretty hilarious. Going through the timeline and just seeing all of these and people saying, "Time to add that to the list of every single guard." I mean, every single guy that has made Karl Anthony Towns make this face this season. And it's just
He makes that face
hard to
every game.
watch. Yeah, like it's hard to watch because you're just like, why is this so hard for Karl Anthony Towns? Like, why is every single person that defends him, from as small as Drew Holiday to as big as DeMarcus Cousins, why is everybody a brick wall for Karl Anthony Towns and his post-up game? Like, he's one of the biggest, smallest guys I've ever seen in my life. Like in high school, we used to call him big for nothings, where it was like you're tall, but anyone could talk trash to you and you're not going to do a single thing about it. Like he's a big for nothing. So what were your guys' thoughts watching Karl Anthony Towns play that game? Because like you guys mentioned, he did get benched for a good portion of that fourth quarter. And those fourth quarter minutes actually looked really good. So I'll throw it to you first, Apollo.
I've been saying it for a while, man. Like, I'm disappointed because I know you're way better than this, bro. Like, not just a little bit better. He's way better than this. He's way better than this. And I don't like it's like when somebody in the chat says it's well as no, it's mental. It's absolutely mental. It's 1000% mental. But what will change it? What will fix it? Is it gonna happen here? Is he gonna have the time for it to happen here? Is it because he's hearing rumors or something? Like, I don't know what it is, or is he just upset? But it's clear as day that he's not who he is. Like, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating to see. That play bothered me because I always felt, pause this whole conversation. Okay, we're from New York, but my man's got no hips, bro. Like, he doesn't know how to use his lower body at all. He doesn't. That's why in order for him to move around people, he uses his arms every single time. He has no lower body strength. He's under the basket at 7 foot. He does a lot of layups. I don't really see him dunk a lot. It's his lower body is not his strength. He's a shooter. So, and to me, at some point, you have to see that in yourself, bro. Like, and just to have that kind of play, that would have put me in the craziest like gym with all of the lights off, just working on my game kind of thing, because there's no way that a point guard is going to push me off of my spot like that and I'm just going to lose the ball. You know what I mean? Like, that to me, that would have been a shot at my ego, like supremely. And then, you know what I mean? So I don't know, bro. It's just watching him. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't know what will take it. Even some plays, even when he tries to celebrate, sometimes it's like he doesn't even want to celebrate with guys. I don't know what's going on, but he's got to get out of his head. He's got to get out of his head.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Apollo? I mean, Al, on what you saw from Cat that night?
Well, just soft, man. He's just soft. He's too soft of a player for New York, man. I don't know what it is. He got bullied. He's getting, like, night in and night out, he's getting bullied by somebody new every day. It's like, bro, like, you can't, now you're developing a really, really bad reputation that not only reflects on you, but reflects on the rest of the team, like that we're soft and people can come in and bully us. So I don't like that. What I thought was interesting was in his post-game conference, they asked him about getting benched in the fourth quarter for Mitchell Robinson. And yeah, he sounds like kind of dejected. He looks kind of dejected on the court, like he's kind of not into it and he's kind of like checked out. He just seems like kind of emotional, like something's going on. And then today, of course, there was a report that came out that said that he's been, after the summer when he found out that the Knicks were shopping him in that Giannis deal, that he kind of got upset about that. And it's been weighing on him. So that's kind of something that it makes sense because that's what he looks like. He looks like he's looking over his shoulder, like he's unsure of himself, like his spot on the team and all that kind of stuff. That's what it looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that right after this. Because it's crazy. I understand it's mental. I understand, you have bad games. I understand this, that, and whatever. But when you have an opportunity to show against a team that really should not be able to stop you, where you have a chance to kind of change the narrative of how things are going, you have to take every opportunity to do that. Playing 5 minutes in the fourth is not going to bring up that narrative. Okay? Plays like this that I'm going to share right here. And the reason I like pulling up these clips, especially when it's like guys like Walt Clyde Frazier talking about it, is because people that are talking smack about me and thinking I'm a Cat hater, they can't really say anything because someone who knows ball more than any single one of y'all that are watching right now, which is Clyde Walt Frazier, is the one that has been calling this out the most. So we're going to see this clip right here because this is very telling. This is very telling. This is not, I'm having a bad game. Okay. This is not just, I'm having a poor shooting night. Okay. This is a lot more than that. So let's watch this clip once again. Actually, I'm going to keep the volume on. I don't care if I get hit with something because I want y'all to hear Clyde Walt Frazier. Here we go.
Towns on Renault. Late clock in the paint. Tough fadeaway right.
All right, 10:42.
Towns made his first three ball. The last two shots are dubious.
5-on-4 the other way.
Where's Towns?
Almost 10 seconds later, while Clyde is screaming, "Where's Towns?" does Towns get back on the other side of the court, which is crazy, like absolutely crazy for that much time to get passed by. And then look at him at the top of the key. He absolutely does nothing now that he's back.
Just getting into the picture.
Kings could not take advantage. But Schroeder gets a decent look.
Like that last portion, that looks like every scene of a movie of a drunk guy who woke up at the bar and then realized it was morning and then went outside and was stuttering to try to figure out what the heck happened. Look at this.
But Schroeder gets a decent look.
Right here.
But Schroeder gets a
where do I go?
Could not take
I'm
advantage.
gonna go here. No, how about that? No, how about
gets
that?
a decent look.
Like,
Towns
it's just, that is not, I had a bad game kind of scenario. That's so much more. And I know people are like, yo, why you gotta like pull it on Cat, like be like that? And I'm like, guys, at the end of the day, this is a $53 million player. like, of course the standards are going to be a little bit higher. Like, if Diawara goes out there and has a moment like that, okay, I'm going to be upset. But a lot of y'all are going to be like, sit that rookie down. Like, he doesn't show any hustle. But when Karl Anthony Towns does, there's mad excuses. And I'm like, no, that is backwards. It should be, all right, young buck, learn something, Diawara. But Towns, it should be like, get yourself up and earn your $53 million. Like, get down there and do something for us. Shout out to Carbon Intellect in the building. Shout out to Thotty Huxtable. Appreciate you for being here as well. We got some more people up in here that continue to blow up the chat. But it was funny because when you said that it looks like he's just flailing and everything like that when he's trying to post up, I instantly thought of this movie scene. So I have to play it. And once again, y'all can hit me with that. I don't really care. We ain't making no money off this episode anyway. So here we go. This is exactly what it reminded me of.
I didn't understand a one word you said. Ron, are you okay? Ron.
There's the cat elbows going everywhere.
Ron, where are you? I'm in a glass case of emotion. Look, he's got the Corningstone on.
That's Karl Anthony Towns. He's in a glass case of emotion every time he tries to back somebody in and get a bucket. So it has been a little bit frustrating. Not really excited about what I saw there, but let's look at what was at least something bright about that game. I want to give a shout out to let's go with JB. Like he at least, got to the foul line quite a bit, had 7 free throws, only missed one of them, which is good because that's one thing we preach all the time here is stop missing your free throws. So he did well there. And shot 52%, but 50% from 3, which was nice. And Mikal Bridges was okay, but JB pretty much kept us going that whole game. OG's numbers were great, but he didn't shoot enough. He was 5 for 7, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, but wasn't very pushy with his shot. So any bright, shining, glimmers of hope that you guys saw from that game?
Yeah, 27 minutes, Mitch. 27 minutes, I believe that was a season high for him. So that was very good to see.
Yep. I'll say this. The Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo, who just walked in the room. That's so crazy. I said his name is like Beetlejuice. His comment popped up. Me and Lee, like Lee, like Beetlejuice. Escobedo. What up? Escobedo. And he just shows up. But anyway, so one thing him and Ebony have been saying, and I'm riding that train now, is the don't trade Mitch. Like, honestly, for me, moving on from Towns, if we do this trade that we're hearing about, I say the next thing we do is solidify Mitch with the bag, make some moves, make sure that Mitch is here long term, because he's honestly been the bright, shiny day for a lot of us right now. So shout out to Lee Escobedo for that take. What about you, Apollo? Any bright, shining clouds in the orange and blue skies?
I mean, both of you guys really took it from me. You know what I mean? It was really. I mean, I guess Mikal had a pretty good game. He was pretty good that game. But like you said, it was pretty much Brunson, and of course, like the fact that Mitch was able to play 27 minutes, which was something that when I first looked at it, I was like, he played how many minutes? Because I remember them asking him questions at the end of the game about, I forgot exactly what his comments were, but he was saying basically that it was difficult for him to be on that minutes restriction. To see him get up to close to 30 minutes, and I think how many rebounds was it? 13 rebounds or something like that. For him to be able to do that, if we can get that more often, we might not get the back-to-backs. That might be something we're asking for too much if we get that. You're asking for that, but at least by the playoffs, we know he'll be ready for every game. There's no back-to-backs in the playoffs. So
You know what's so crazy
Yeah.
about this team? We have like two guys that are polar, complete opposites in the way they approach the game. Macau is this Iron Man that knows how to like pace himself and not get hurt. And Mitch has been on record saying, bro, I get hurt all the time because I play freaking hard. Like he doesn't know how to play no other way but play 100% all the way hard. So you kind of got to protect him from himself. But it's just funny how we have two different guys that, you know, approach the game two different ways.
right.
Yeah. And so shout out to Parrish Duggar in the building. Parrish, I know you're talking about Cat, but this is the game we're talking about currently before we give any flowers for his rebounding. That was last night. We're still talking about the Kings, but we will talk about his rebounding in last night's game very shortly. I see someone up here. Carbon Intellect said, is Mitch going to take a Knicks friendly deal if we get to the finals? I would hope so, but I also feel like if we wait till the finals, like, and we do well, it's less of a, hey, we had faith in you and we re-signed you, as opposed to you delivered, now we're going to re-sign you. I think if we would have signed him earlier, we probably would have had a better chance of getting a team-friendly deal. Like, hey, you still are showing that you have to be on restriction, but we still value you. So can we cut, the cost a little bit? I don't know how he'll feel about waiting till then to get an offer and then be like, oh yeah, let me cut you a deal. But we'll see. Like if he delivers us a performance like he has over these past few weeks in the finals and in the playoffs, I don't know why he would really cut his price when we didn't buy in on him a little bit earlier with that extension. But that's my thought. But let's talk about this real quick. Before we talk about last night's game, I want to talk about what we talked about, Lee, myself, and Fritz. And I'm going to actually put the link for that episode in the chat because I think you guys definitely should go back and watch it. It's at like 2,100 and something views right now since yesterday. But it was just a really, really good episode where we were able to talk about this whole Cat trade scenario that we're hearing so much about. One thing we try not to do on this show is just buy into everything that everybody says. But when you get a source like Ian Begley, that's when we start taking things seriously as a Knicks community. So when Ian Begley says, hey, yep, the rumor is true that the Bucks and Giannis's agency are trying to figure out where's next home for Giannis, and the Knicks are aggressively going to be part of that, then we have to talk about it because now it's an actual thing that's happening for the Knicks. It's not just speculation from a fan. It's not just a, minor source that feels like he might have heard something. This is the source when it comes to Knicks fandom. So the rumors are that Cat wants out and that the teams that are interested most heavily to make packages are the Knicks, the Heat, the Warriors, and I believe maybe the Rockets were the other team possibly. But there was 4 teams and we were one of them.
Wait,
and
you said Cat wants out?
No. I mean, Giannis. Sorry, Giannis.
Oh.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Giannis wants out. Sorry.
Okay.
I apologize to all those watching that are like, wait, did I miss this? Yeah, spoiler alert. No. Giannis wants out. And the Knicks are aggressively in that talks, which obviously that would be Cat. Like it would have to be money-wise. They match up pretty much spot on. So what are your guys' thoughts initially on that? And then I'll share some of the thoughts that we had on that. What are your guys' thoughts on doing the trade now as opposed to waiting and see if no one makes the trade now and maybe we get Giannis in the summer? I feel like that's a little more far-fetched now that he's made it known that he needs another home. And knowing that the other teams are probably not going to wait. Like Golden State's not going to wait on the Knicks. The Heat are not going to wait on the Knicks. What are your guys' thoughts on the Knicks pursuing Giannis Antetokounmpo right now? I'll go to you first, Al.
I mean, I don't get what we would be waiting for. Checked out on Cat and also Mikal for that. I don't care how good of a game he had yesterday, but they're two guys that are too soft in my opinion. Cat's also just not championship caliber player in my opinion. Not especially not as like a 1 or a 2. I think he could be on a championship team one day if he's like the 3rd or 4th option, but as a 1 or a 2, he would be too important for that team, and he just makes too many dumb mistakes, sometimes unserious. He doesn't follow the game plan. His defense is lacking, all these kinds of things. So I've already come to the conclusion that Cat isn't a championship caliber player. We can't win a championship with Cat as our number 2 option. So I don't know. It should be clear to the Knicks brass too. So I don't know what we would be waiting for. Like, get it if you can get it done. If there's something on the table, remember we already had conversations with them about a potential package in the summertime. So we should be further along in our talks than other teams theoretically, right? Like we could just pick up, okay, this is where we left off. Let's get this over the finish line, right? Yeah, Cat does look like he wants out too. So, and for that matter, Josh Hart seems like it's not really like jiving with Cat either. Like that game, I forgot what game it was when Cat went to the basket and Josh is like, bro, get up, man. Like, come on with the nonsense. Like, so he's fed up with him. You know what I mean? So I think you should make the trade. But the Knicks brass has to have a pulse. They have the best pulse on the team, right? So they need to know, like, hey, this is working out, this is not working out, or this is worth, seeing if we can do something for the remainder of the year. Maybe these last 3 games, 4 games, change their mind, because my thing about them, my reservation about them was always defense. So if they defend like this at this level, the last 6 games we're the number 1 defense in the NBA. So I don't know. I still think that in the end, we had that run last year, and then when we got to the Pacers matchup, Cat kind of just all of a sudden stopped playing the way that he was playing the other series. And I can't live with that again, right? We have another run, and then we get to the finals, and then Cat decides that he's going to be in drop, and he's going to let people shoot threes in his face, and and not follow the game plan. It's like I can't live with that. So I'd rather just move on from him. And we know that Giannis is championship caliber, right? So we're getting rid of that and getting something that we know is championship caliber. So I think you do it.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Apollo?
I mean, it's like you said, if they already were having talks before, and the story back then was they came away with I guess they felt, both sides basically felt like the other side wasn't serious about the talks. There's an, like you said, you can pick right back up. There has to be an outline of something there already. You know what I mean? That you can just kind of say, all right, we understand this is what you wanted, and given the way we've played, there should be some things that we're willing to give up now that we probably weren't willing to give up before, because we probably thought we were just going to run right back to the championship, right? So now it's like, okay, well, there's some guys that we won't mind giving you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At this point, like, oh yeah, that guy so and so, you can have him now. It's cool. Yeah, you good. You good. But the sad part is they're also watching them play too. So that's also the other side of it that a lot of people don't think about. Another side that I thought about earlier is that if Pat Riley wants that guy, he's going to make sure that the Knicks don't get him. So if we're serious about getting Giannis, if he goes to Miami, he's there. He's good. He's not leaving Miami. So if they're serious about Giannis and you're not sure about this team, I don't see how, with everything going on and the energy around everything, right now, if you don't make that move when you could have, and then he goes to Miami, it doesn't really look good on Leon Rose. So I'm wondering how much he's willing to give up at this point, because like you talked about Cat, you can see the chemistry, like you said, Josh and Cat. I see it all the time. Like every time Cat kind of makes a move, you see Josh kind of like throw his hands up. It's the chemistry is off. You know what I mean? Guys aren't really driving the way they normally would, and like you said, that they're playing better with him off the floor, and it's hard to ignore that. So I don't see them saying, no, you know what, we're going to stay with this team for the rest of the year. Like, I don't know right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're playing well again, but we're playing well with him off the floor. So it's kind of like, it kind of makes things like you said before as well, that he kind of feels like he's in trade rumors. So it's messing with him, his psychological, his psyche and everything. But you're an NBA player, bro. You know what I mean? Like, this is you at the end of the day, you still have to raise your value if if that's what you want to do. So you still got to play up to your potential. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, those are all great points. And what I want to say is, like, the frustrating part about the whole thing is it's come out that Cat has been frustrated because there was trade talks in the summer about him. Like, that was news that came out today. And
He's in the Matrix. He'll be back. He shall return. I think he's.
Oh, we lost him. Dang.
He's in the Matrix. He'll be back in a second. You got any other points about Cat and the trade you want to talk about?
He was starting to say that Cat came out and there was a report that came out. Oh, there he goes.
Am I back?
You're back now. There we go.
I don't know what the heck happened. But anyway, so this came out from The Athletic today, and it's telling. It says, just ask the Knicks, whose talks with the Bucks about Antetokounmpo last summer led to hard feelings with Cat that, per team sources, remain to this day. That's the double doozy that every team seeks to avoid, the failure to land the player they're pushing, that is followed by a step backward relationship-wise with the player who learned he was nearly sent packing in the process. So he has hard feelings towards the Knicks, and it's affecting his play. And that frustrates the living daylights out of me. Like, at the end of the day, this is a business. At the end of the day, that players get traded. That when you make $53 freaking million, that what the team that just traded you for wants to see a $53 million player. And it's not like you're seeing rumors of like, hey, the Knicks are really rethinking this whole Karl Anthony Towns thing, and now they want to get Emmanuel quickly back, so they're thinking of trading him. Like, no, they're looking at a player that is a legend in the making right now in the league. So if anything, you go, okay, obviously, if they're going to trade me for anyone, it has to be the elite of the elite, because that's what I demand in a trade. Like, that's what a team would have to, do to get me, is send somebody like that. It shouldn't be something that completely cripples you as a player and has you play some of the games that you've played and having 6 points one night or 8 points another night or 12 points another night. Like, that is ridiculous. To me, if it upsets you, show the Knicks that they were stupid to consider it in the first place by playing astronomical, game-changing basketball that makes the Knicks go, wow, I'm so glad we didn't make that stupid decision and trade Cat this summer. But instead, you're making them explore it again because you're having freaking 8 points in 34 minutes while making $53 million. Like, you're justifying why the Knicks even explored those trades in the beginning. You're giving it due process and due reason to do it again. And I understand, like Parrish Duggar said earlier, but he had 22 rebounds last night. That is awesome. But he still sucked offensively. And at the end of the day, we don't pay Mitchell Robinson $53 million to be our best rebounder. Why are we going to pay Cat $53 million to be our best rebounder? That just doesn't make sense.
And they played a small lineup the entire time. So it was like,
exactly.
Exactly.
Like the biggest guy that they have on their team that, what was an issue is Brandon Ingram. And Brandon Ingram don't
Scotty
do that.
Barnes, right?
Yeah, they don't do that defensively like that. Come on. And so we were talking about the trade and why it works. And I have a new slogan that I started. I never go outside without a fit check, and I never post or submit a trade proposal on the internet without a Fritz check. Because Fritz is going to do all the numbers for me. So shout out to my guy, Fritz. Love that dude. That's my new motto when it comes to talking trades. But we were talking about, first, Leon Rose. Like how much weight comes down to whether or not this trade is made. Like whether it's now or this summer. Because if you look at the Heat, if the Heat get him, that changes the East. That completely changes the East, like astronomically. So we can't let that happen. But also, like Lee so kindly pointed out, you were brought, Leon Rose, to bring us a star. To bring us a star. You have yet to do so. Jalen Brunson became a star under, the regime of the Knicks and the coaching of Tom Thibodeau, which is great. We were unable to unlock that. But you were hired to bring us a star, and you've yet to do that. And now the biggest star that's been available in the time that Leon Rose has been with the Knicks is now Giannis, and he is pretty much requested to be traded. And he is getting marketed, and it talks about how we didn't seal the deal this summer. How important is it that Leon Rose solidifies this trade for his future as a Knicks in the front office? I'll go to you, Apollo, and then I'll throw a different question to Al. Oh, you're on mute, my guy. Still on mute.
My bad. Yeah, I think it's very important. Like you said, he was brought here to bring you a star, and you have the opportunity to do it. I know that he's putting the brakes on giving up of course everything. Of course, they're asking for a lot from what I heard. You know what I mean? They're asking for a whole lot, which is kind of what you expect for Giannis. The leverage we have is him saying he wants to be here. But I feel like out of all the other teams, if he gets to the Heat, it's kind of like it's pretty much over, because once Pat Riley gets in his ears, he's not coming to New York. Yeah. So I think you kind of have to, if you have that opportunity, you got to make the move. You kind of have to make that move, which is, crazy to say, but prior to the season, like I said, if you weren't willing to give up certain things, do you now believe that this is the team that is going to win you a championship? You know what I mean? Like we look good recently, but if we're looking at the teams that we've been playing, they're not really the greatest teams. Besides for Philly's good. They're doing good, but I want to see this kind of play against the top teams, and I haven't really seen it. So if you're good with that, Leon, if you want to stamp your flag on that island, you're gonna have to live with the results of that. So I'm not sure if he wants to do that, and I'm sure that Leon has an ego as well. He's not gonna let this opportunity go by for him to say that he brought Giannis to the Knicks with Jalen Brunson and was able to win a championship possibly with that team. So I'm sure he would want to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not sure that they're gonna want to give up what they're asking for, because it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's being talked about, possible young players, possible picks, things like that. But then also talking about, okay, if a team right now doesn't want to trade Giannis for picks, if we got like a Karl Anthony Towns caliber player, we can then move him for picks for a team that needs, 3-point shooting, which you look at a lot of the teams that are in contention. A lot of them aren't really looking for a power kind of player like Giannis right now, except for Golden State. They kind of have those. Obviously, Miami could use it and just be, that much more overpowering. But if you look at something like the Timberwolves, they'd probably have to get rid of Randall, and Dante to get Giannis, and maybe some more on top of that. So I think with the Knicks, it's like the biggest thing for Leon is you have to at least go all out and try. Like if you don't go all out and try and he goes somewhere else and it disrupts our chances as the Knicks in the East with Jalen Brunson, then that's going to be a huge issue. So one thing I want to talk to you, Al, is we were talking about fit, and how a lot of people are like, oh, but how is he going to fit? With Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's the number one, this, that, and whatever. And it's clear as day for anyone who at least understands the game of basketball, in my opinion, that if Giannis comes over, Jalen Brunson plays shotgun. Like, you're the number two. Like, at the end of the day, this is Giannis Antetokounmpo. As great as you are, Jalen Brunson, this is a MVP, like NBA championship winner, legendary player, one of the most dominant players we've seen in our time in the NBA. Like, he becomes that number one and things kind of revolve around that. But to me, this makes it easier for Jalen Brunson, like so much easier, because I've never seen, especially when we play them and any other team that you watch, Giannis starts driving to the basket. There's at least 2 or 3 defenders trying to clamp down and stop him. And now you have Jalen Brunson for either a wide open 3 or an easy basket, like easy drive to the basket because they're guarding Giannis. What are your thoughts on the fit? Do you feel like a Jalen Brunson, Giannis Antetokounmpo pairing can do damage in the East?
Absolutely. I think it definitely can. I do agree. I do think that Giannis is going to be the number one option and Brunson will be the number 2 option. But I do think that down the stretch of a game, to take the last shot, that ball is still going to Jalen Brunson.
Oh, yeah.
He's missed the clutch. So he's still going to be that dude in the clutch in the last minutes of the game. You also have to remember Giannis. What was that? Jalen, look at me. I'm the
Oh, God. Oh, man.
You have to remember Giannis. Giannis is really bad free throw shooter. I worry about Giannis and Mitch down the stretch on the floor, and the hack of Mitch, hack of Giannis. That could be disruptive.
I don't think they play at the same time. I think Brown would do what he does now, which is take out Giannis when it needs to be a defensive like rebound or a defensive play. And then when it's okay, now we need Giannis for offense, it would be a sub out. Like, that would be foolish.
But I do think they will share the floor throughout the rest of the game. They might even start together. And I do worry about the lack of shooting that presents, right, with Giannis and Mitchell Robinson. Hopefully, Josh Hart isn't starting in that lineup. But I worry about that. I think Giannis is best suited with a stretch 5, and we currently don't have that on the roster. So that part of the fit could be a little clumsy, in my opinion. We'll have to see how they work through that.
Yeah. And I would say yes and no. I think that the reason Giannis has always really needed a stretch 5 is if you look at his guards, they were not really 3-point shooting guards. When he was like with Milwaukee and it was Drew Holiday running the point, Drew wasn't really a 3-point shooting guard. He was kind of like Josh Hart. He can hit him when he's open, but it's not really his thing. But now you have Captain Clutch that you drive to the basket, you can dish out to. You don't necessarily need a big to dish out to because Jalen will catch and shoot. Landry Shamet will catch and shoot. OG Anunoby will catch and shoot. Like, you have those guys that are going to be, that. He only really went to his stretch bigs when Chris Middleton wasn't like open for a catch and shoot three when they were on the same team. And then when Chris wasn't there anymore, then he started going to his big, because that was the better 3-point shooter that he has. Either way, Giannis is going to attract defenders and pass it to whoever's open from three. And so allowing Jalen Brunson to be a little more off ball, it gives you that opportunity to, spray it out a little more. And it does a little more of what Mike Brown's offense was intended to do anyway. Like drive it, draw your defender, dish it out.
Well,
right now, it's not
don't
Cat.
have anyone. Yeah.
Cat's just hooking people and throw them. Like he's
we
got
don't really have anyone
that.
We don't really have anyone that really puts serious pressure on the rim and attacks the rim like that. I mean, Josh does it on fast breaks, but in a half court setting, we don't really have someone that has the wiggle to get to the cup and be cause serious harm. But Brunson gets in the lane, but he's 6'2", so he usually is pulling up and stopping. But Giannis can go all the way through and put you through the rim. So that's something that this team needs is missing.
Is there a world where they can figure out how to do? Of course, they would have to cut the team to do it, but getting him and keeping Cat.
No. I don't think any team wants that, first of all. And you got to at least get 53 million out plus. Yeah.
I was going to say, technically yes, but then OG has to go and Macau. They both would have to go because OG has the second highest pay contract on the team. So
and honestly, I don't. There's so many more lineup I think I'd rather have than
You know what's funny is I've always thought, or when Leon made the trade, I thought it was a calculated gamble. That when he made the trade for Cat, I thought it was a calculated gamble. He's going to come here. We're going to try to win with him. If we can't win with him at all else, he's making this big salary figure that we're going to need to match to get to swing a deal for a star player. And he probably was already thinking about Giannis in some type of way because, man, their salaries are exactly a match. It's so crazy. So I think Leon was actually thinking long game here, or at least was already thinking of his exit strategy from Cat if it just didn't work out. And I think we're here.
All right, I'm gonna throw it to the next question first. Apollo, which good times do you have available?
Cranberry, vanilla, and Japanese cherry tree.
Japanese cherry tree. All right, so we're gonna go with that first. We're gonna start with the cranberry vanilla. He's running a little late, so we're gonna start on the pours, and whenever he gets here, he gets here. But this is the one we're gonna start with. This is a brand called Good Times. And what I love about these guys is they're all about innovation, and they're all about trying to just bring a new way of finishing whiskey to the table. And they are doing a dang good job at it. So shout out to them. I'm looking for their logo as you guys pull that up.
Are they from Kentucky? Where are they from?
Yeah, they're out in Kentucky. So that's the brand right there, Good Times. And we're going to start with the cranberry vanilla. This one is a single barrel of straight bourbon finished in cranberry brandy and Mexican vanilla casks. That smells delicious. Smells like an adult Capri Sun.
That's good.
All right, let's go for it.
The finish is nice.
That's good.
Oh, man. That is so smooth.
Yeah. The finish is nice.
And the fruitiness of it. It's crazy because, what people don't realize is, when it's a finished whiskey, it's not like us saying, they injected honey into this whiskey, or they injected, cranberry into this whiskey. No, there's no adding anything in. So these are actual cranberry brandy casks So the wood barrels that they age it in once carried cranberry brandy in it. So you actually are getting the flavor of the wood and the cranberry brandy mixed in with the bourbon. And it is just such a good, cohesive, delicious pour at 112 proof. So this one's absolutely delicious.
It smells great. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Like seriously, that could be a candle. That could be a candle in your wife's room.
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
can smell the barrel.
Yep.
It's nice.
That's delicious. All right. So as we sip on that, let's go into the next topic that I have here. So we talked about Leon. We talked about making it happen. And I'm kind of going to detour on this one a little bit because we talked on this. And I think it's very important. To anybody that is comparing this Giannis trade to a Carmelo Anthony trade years and years ago, please stop. These are nothing like one another. When we went all in for Carmelo Anthony, we had nothing else for Carmelo Anthony to do. Like there was no one else that we were really building on with Carmelo. We were like, all right, we're going to go all in for Carmelo and see what happens after that. Like you are bringing Giannis Antetokounmpo into a team that's already been to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. You're bringing Giannis Antetokounmpo into a team whose point guard was just voted as the starter for the NBA All-Star game. Like it's completely different going after Giannis because we have the building blocks of a winning team. Giannis just makes us that much more of a for sure, make it to the finals kind of contenders because we have the vet that you want on the bench in Landry Shamet. Like you have the guy that's going to be able to have those nights where they completely pull you out. You have a two-way defender in OG Anunoby. You have one of the best offensive rebounders in the game in Mitchell Robinson. Like, it's not like you are bringing a Carmelo Anthony player into a team that you hope one day is good. You are bringing a Giannis into an already good situation. So those things cannot be compared. Like, it is insane to think that those two things are similar. What are your thoughts, Al?
Look, I understand the concern from the fan base, right? It makes sense. But I also don't think that it's the same. If you listen to what James Dolan has said on the record in recent interviews, he mentions that Carmelo trade and how he learned to not get in the way and how it was. He recognizes where he went wrong with that trade. So I don't think that he would do that again. The funny thing is that this trade makes me think of a different trade that actually didn't happen and that James Dolan spoke about recently, which was he said that he had a trade on the table for Vince Carter back in the day.
Yep.
And he didn't do the trade because the medical staff told him that Vince Carter was going to tear his Achilles any day now, that it was like 90% ruptured. And James Dolan actually backed off and was like, all right, let's not trade for him. Now we have Giannis here, who I wonder what percent his Achilles tendon is ruptured.
Yep.
And will, and of course, right, Vince Carter never ended up tearing his Achilles. So will James Dolan take that same stance and not make the trade? Or is he going to be like, man, I got screwed last time with Vince Carter. I'm making the trade. I don't care how bad his Achilles is. So I actually found myself thinking about that. I thought it was interesting.
No, that's a great point. So to your point and also to Apollo's point earlier, Apollo was like, well, yeah, Cat's been playing like that, which kind of hurts us because other teams are watching as well, including the Bucks on how he's playing because of hurt feelings or whatever. But one thing that is kind of to our advantage is Giannis's current state of health. Like at the end of the day, a team has to realize the injury that he currently has can lead to a career-ending injury. And so anyone who is trading, a player of equal price point, equal, contention caliber, such as Cat or whatever, we're giving you a no risk option compared to us taking that risk, so it kind of helps the playing grounds, on, yes,
Yeah.
you guys have seen that Cat has had a little bit of an off season for us, but your guy is out right now. Your guy is injured and doesn't want to be on your team, so you have to look at it like that way. There is one of the things that kind of helps balance it out a little bit. It is that scenario. And also, I was watching a thing earlier of Brian Windhorst, and I was cracking up because sometimes Brian just talks too much. And he was talking, and the guy that he was on the show with, I'm trying to remember his name. Let me see if the guy that he was on, which is Tim Bontemps. He was like, Brian's like, yeah, but the Knicks, if they want, can make a compelling offer, this, that, whatever. And the guy was like, no, they want it. Not if, but they do want it. And he was like, yeah, but you got to think Jalen Dolan has talked about publicly how, he believes in this team. And the guy was like, that's great, but they still want it. One thing that Leon has said is that he wants a star here. And most of all, he wants a championship. So regardless of what he said about liking this team, he likes the team, but he loves a championship. He wants to leave a legacy. Him and Dolan don't want to just like things. They want to be loved, and how do you do that? You bring a championship to a New York City that has not had a championship as long as any of us have been fans. So I don't think it matters so much that he doesn't want to go back on his word that he likes the team. He definitely is not going to bat his eyes to not get a championship. And this is a great post right here by John Macri. He said, so if the trade line passes and Cat is still here, what happens to those hurt feelings? Can they truly be put behind him? Cat's an emotional guy, as we all know. Either way might help explain his play this season. So if he's playing that way because he's emotional, and now he's hearing even more so that we're pursuing that trade, and the trade doesn't happen, what happens to our season? That's a huge question.
What happens when we get in the playoffs and somebody tells him that his fiance, tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios? Is he gonna lose his shit, and crumble, and all of a sudden he can't perform and be that 1B that we need him to be? That's what I'm saying. He's too fragile mentally for us to carry that into the playoffs, man. He's just not a championship caliber type of player, man.
All right, so I'm gonna throw this one to Apollo now that he's back. Okay. Yes. So keep in mind, this was before the game last night, but we were talking about it because there's been a lot of talks about it. Another player that I'm a big fan of, but I'm frustrated with, and I went from hashtag don't trade him to what's the offer, is Mikal Bridges. And one of the things that was being said was that Portland was really interested in Mikal Bridges and interested in trading for Drew Holiday. And so we explored what that would look like and why that trade would make sense. First, he knows how to play with Giannis. So obviously you only make that trade if the Giannis trade is happening.
Yeah.
But he knows how to play with Giannis. They've won a championship together. They have that comfortability, and Giannis has mentioned that he would like to, play with Drew Holiday again. Okay. Now it allows you to space out where your great defense is. Now it's not just so wing heavy where the wings are the defenders and always have to be running out to cover for the guards or cover for Cat. Now you have Giannis, who a lot of people don't want to drive on Giannis. There's going to be some impact there. Then next to him, you have OG Anunoby. And now up at the guard to help Jalen Brunson around that 3-point perimeter up top is Drew Holiday. So what is your thoughts, Apollo, on that kind of a trade? Could that help the Knicks with some of their deficiencies defensively around the paint? Around the 3-point line. And how important is that Giannis at least has some chemistry with somebody coming to the roster?
That's two people with championship experience on my team. I don't see how I say no to that. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. The dude went from Milwaukee, won a championship, and then went to Boston and helped them get a championship. It's something that's in his DNA. You know what I mean? He knows. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not a star, but he's absolutely somebody who knows what it takes to win. And he's not like the scorer that you would need him. You don't really need him to be a scorer like that. Even if he comes in and he's a bench role, like I don't necessarily care in what capacity he's here, because if he's replacing Deuce, I mean, I'm taking Drew Holiday over Deuce. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, and I'm not just throwing Deuce out the window, but I'm just saying if that ends up being the backup at the 1 or 2 or whatever spot that you have, the first guy off the bench, then I'm taking that, especially because he has that championship experience and he has that experience with Giannis, and just in general. He knows where he likes the ball. He knows how he's going to play defense, how he's going to defend, his mindset when he's in, when he's out, when he has to reel him back in and stuff like that. Those things matter, you know what I mean? And the same way when Jalen got here, you went and got Josh, you went and got Dante, you went and got Mikal. You surround these guys with guys that they're comfortable, that they've won before with, so yeah, man. And that's I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good move to make.
Yeah. And so a lot of people were worried, because we talked about this, and me and Lee were pretty much, it was crazy. Me and Lee butt heads a lot when it comes to some takes. Sometimes he's like, that's the stupidest take. And sometimes I'm like, bro, all I hear is basura coming out of your mouth. Like, we have those kind of moments, but we love each other. And like, that's our friendship. But we were seriously neck and neck, just talking basketball and seeing things exactly the same way in that episode. So that's why you got to watch it, because that's like a 1 in a million like type episode. But people were talking about, what about the number fall off between Drew Holiday and Mikal? Besides certain games, if you look at the actual stats so far this season, Mikal is actually behind Drew Holiday in points per game for the season, rebounds per game, and assists per game to Drew Holiday. So Drew Holiday right now it is above him in all 3 of those categories. So that's actually not a fall off. And yes, I saw Mikal's insane game last night, and we're going to talk about that because it's very, very important. But I did want to share this because it was pretty cool. I've been sharing this with my friends, but I was in Dallas the other day, and I went through Lee's wallet, and I found a picture that made things really, really make sense on why him and I have butted heads sometimes. And that's because even though me and him are hermanos, and we're brothers in arms, he's also got other brothers in arms that I've ruffled feathers with. So this picture was incredible and was so telling of just what I've come against. So his friendship with Tom Thibodeau is so deep and so like rooted in years of, friendship and commitment to each other. So I completely understand why I've bothered Lee so many times before. So I apologize, Lee. Never want to step on your toes when it comes to, your hermano, your compadre. Look at that. So much hair on one side of the photo and so little on the other. It's crazy.
The scariest thing about that picture is that there's nothing else in that wallet. He just only cares about him and Tibbs.
That's it. That's it. Like, Lee was like, listen, I didn't get paid yet, but I got my picture.
But I got Tibbs.
I got Tibbs. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's funny because I go to stores and I'm like, you take Apple Pay? And Lee was like, do you guys take Tibbs Pay? And people were like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, bro, let me handle this coffee, bro. They don't take Tibbs Pay here. So anyway, so
that's funny.
So let's talk about last night. But first, let me finish this pour so we can actually, let's wait a second on the second one.
I'm way ahead of you, man. Might pour another one.
I know I was talking you disappeared from the camera for a while.
So somebody said that pour took you out.
No, that's my boy Izzy. Shout out to Izzy. Now I'm on call right now, and there's a lot going on my property.
Yeah.
But luckily that wasn't one of those calls that I had to leave for. So that was something I could talk somebody off a cliff.
No, I understand.
I had to make that move.
The nose on this is just so crazy. Every time I smell it, man. Holy
right?
crap.
It's so good.
Nice.
So good. All right. So let's talk about last night's game. Okay, because that one was a little more promising, right? And let's see what I want to talk about first there. Actually, before we do that, let's go into a dictionary. Because when our guest gets here, he's not a Knicks fan. He's not going to know how to figure that out. So we're going to do it with you guys and with our panel and see if you guys can figure this one out. I saw you guys stumped last episode, so I dumbed it down. All right. This is Dictionaries for Dummies.
I wasn't here.
All right. Yeah, that's true. All right. The week before, too. So, but this right here is going to be Dictionary for Dummies. Actually, Apollo did good that last episode, so I can't hurt him. But yeah, we had a full house of stumped guests last week on the episode. So this one's going to be a little bit easier for all y'all because I want to make sure that you guys can guess it. So this will only take a few minutes. I am sure of it. All right. Where's it at? Let me find the dictionary. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Here we go, y'all. Name this Knick player. Mike set 116. Unfortunately, I do not believe it because apparently they do not want to give up the picks and young players that they would have to give up. Don't know if that's true or not. I also don't think that Giannis wants to go and win a chip under someone else's legacy.
I got it.
All right. You guys both got it?
Yeah.
All right. What do we got?
I just saw Lee put it in the chat.
What do we got?
Walt Clyde Frazier.
Walt Clyde Frazier, yeah.
Yes, sir. We got Walt Disney at the top up there. We got Clyde the Glide Drexler. And then we got the whole cast of that horrible, boring sitcom that so many people thought was awesome, Frasier. So applause to all of you guys for that. And it's so funny. Some of these shows like that and Seinfeld, I was living in Florida and was in college, and people are like, oh, you don't like, Frasier or Seinfeld? And I was like, no. They're like, oh yeah, well, and they didn't really know where I was from or anything like that. And they're like these white kids from the middle of who knows where. And they're like, yeah, well, that's because you kind of have to have a New York state of mind to really get the jokes. And I'm like, I'm from New York. You're from the sticks. What are you talking about?
Excuse me.
Has nothing to do with why that show sucked, in my opinion. But anyway,
That's funny.
All right, so let's talk about the game yesterday. All right, let's pull up some of the stats because it was an entertaining game to watch. All right, us versus Toronto. One thing it does continue to show. Leon definitely won that trade. Even though RJ's playing well, Emmanuel Quickly's in a weird slump, not worth the contract that he got. Just seems different. This is definitely Brandon Ingram's team. We saw that between him and Scotty Barnes. But the Knicks played well. 119-92. What were your guys' thoughts when you were watching the game? I'll go to you first, Apollo.
I mean, at first I was frustrated before they went on that run because it was kind of like, why are you guys struggling with them? But then OG decided to start dunking everything that he that he saw. Every single time he got the ball, it seemed like he was dunking the ball. But that we got that run, I think it was towards the end of the third quarter, and they finally started to, get going. And it was one of those frustrating ones because it looked like they were gonna let Brandon Ingram kind of just go crazy. And I was kind of like, Brandon, come on, man, you gotta shut that guy down. And then the turnovers after turnover, and I'm just like, all right, when can we not make a backward step? And then they got it together, made that run. And I think Monica McNutt had said something about a 60-something to 20-something run to end that game or something like that. that was just ridiculous, just ridiculous. So yeah, it was a roller coaster, but the end of that was it was good to watch.
Yeah, I agree. The crazy thing is, you talk about the OG dunks. My boys were like watching with me, and they were like, "Dad, OG, all he does today, that's all he knows how to do is dunk. It's crazy. Like he's dunking and he's dunking and he's dunking." And he's like, they were like, "We don't think we've ever seen OG dunk this much in the whole game in his whole time that we've watched him." And I'm like, neither have I. Like, it's just a different beast last night. And he's always been someone who plays better against his old team. Like he's always going, to the wall when it comes to playing against them. So to me, I was honestly most impressed. I know everyone's like, that's the Mikal game. But I was most impressed by OG Anunoby last night. To me, it was the OG game. Because it wasn't just about the points, but it was also about his efficiency, which yes, Mikal's was more, but it was also the contributions everywhere else. 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and then 6 steals in the game. Like, that's just crazy. Like, if you look at it, our team had 12 steals in total. 6 of them came from OG Anunoby. Like, that's kind of crazy. So for me,
a tweet from my bad. I was just gonna say there's a tweet from Tommy Beer that says he's the only player this century to tally 25 points, more than 5 steals, 2 blocks, and 5 assists without committing a single turnover in the game. OG Anunoby is the only person that's ever done it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy. So OG was definitely on point. But let's talk about Mikal Bridges, because this kind of makes things a little bit weird, to be honest. Mikal's numbers were insane last night. Okay. One thing we always say is, why is your efficiency so high, but yet you stop shooting? Like, that was one of our biggest pet peeves. And then last night, he goes 12 for 15, 80%, 66.7% from 3. That's freaking nuts. And 4 assists. Mikal's best game, like that I've seen. Like, yes, he's had higher scoring numbers, but his efficiency was through the roof last night. So for me, this is kind of annoying, because watching him last night, Mikal playing like that is championship caliber type basketball. That takes the Knicks to the next level. That takes us exactly where we need to be, where his name being mentioned in trades, if he was even 70% of that every single night, his name would never be mentioned. The frustrating part was that it was so effortless for him last night. Yet there's some nights where he looks like absolute trash or just does not contribute. And the frustrating thing is having to question, like we do with Towns, which Mikal Bridges are we going to get that night? And how do we rely on that for the playoffs? So what are your thoughts, Apollo, on Mikal? And in the interview, in the postgame, he had a lot to say. Like, you guys saw his postgame, right?
Yep.
Yep. So he had a lot to say about maybe he was just too prideful, wasn't allowing himself to be coached, and like he wasn't showing up for his teammates and finding the energy that he needed. What are your thoughts, Apollo?
I don't know why that light just went out. It's frustrating watching sometimes, because like you said, he's able to do that. He did get hot at the end of this game. I think let's say if he didn't go in that streak at the end of the game, he had like 4 threes, I think, like that. It would have been like a normal Mikal game. And he had 18, So I think Mikal is always this close to having these kind of games. And that can be frustrating to watch sometimes, because it's like he defers all the time. Like and you don't need to defer, especially on this team when we're looking for someone else to just be aggressive with the ball, and attack. And then, and that's the thing that I've always been annoyed with is, and everyone started to talk about it now, is I think he averages 2 free throws a game for his career. I think that's something like that. So it's, he doesn't really go to the free throw line a lot, because he doesn't really attack, which it's, you do what you're good at. He's really good at hitting the mid range and hitting guys in the fadeaway, even pulling up threes. So my thing is if that's your strength, then let's see that more often. And that's kind of what we saw last night is, him taking charge, and he even got to the basket a few times, Euro step in the paint. Just I know he's scared to get injured. He plays like he's scared to get injured, and that kind of frustrates me. And that's why he comes off as soft to a lot of people, because it's like, he's plays not to get injured, and it. He's Iron Man, but it's not like he's running through walls out here,
Yeah.
So it is very frustrating sometimes watching him like not be aggressive, but it's good when he actually does it. But then it also frustrates you because it's like, well, why don't you do this more often? So hopefully this is what he said at the end of the game. It's a trigger that he can actually flip manually instead of just happening at random games. But we need that. We need that more often. We need games like that more often. And I know a lot of that is chemistry, and being on a run matters as well. So it's not always in your control, but just be aggressive as often as possible. And I think that'll change how a lot of people view him.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, it's so hard to decide how to move forward, because that kind of play is what would set us apart.
Mhm.
But we don't know if we're going to get that. We don't know if that post-game interview is him saying, "Hey, it's all going to be different now," or if it's going to be, "Hey, I realized what I did wrong, and I'm probably going to go back to that again." Like, that's the frustrating part.
I read a comment about his post-game comments that said something towards the lines of like, do you think he was really talking about himself, or was he saying that about himself to like really like drive a point home to another player kind of deal?
That makes
which I
more
thought
sense.
could be, because it doesn't strike me that he's not coachable. I find a really hard time believing that. So I don't know, man. I think that it could
think
be.
he
It
was
could have
sending
been
a
like
shot.
a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an even better tweet along those lines. I'm gonna share this screen. This is from my homie Jesus, and he shared this about the McHale thing. He said that post-game talk McHale said is interesting. It could be that he hears about getting traded, and he knows that he is getting a reputation of a coach killer, or he is waking up and doing a self-assessment and fixing the issue. So either it's, hey, this is my wake-up call, or, hey, I might get traded, and if a team trades for me, I better clear my perception before I get there, because it could be a rude awakening when I get there.
Yeah, it could be some of that too. Yeah.
So I want to go with Papi right here. Papi Shampoo. He said, Papi Shampoo asking a question. And I want to say it in an accent because I feel like Papi Shampoo deserves it. Papi Shampoo asking a question. If the deadline passes and we don't trade Cat, will he overcome his issues with Brown and his teammates just tell him he needs to do better?
Yo, nah, you went crazy, bro.
Papi Shampoo. Okay? Okay, Papi. Let me tell you this, Papi. Okay? I think what happened with Papi, okay? Karl Anthony Towns, Mr. Bodega, okay? He's not a cat like a lion, okay? He's a cat like a little purr, you know, that he pees, you know, he's got the urine in the house, you know, he pee all over the apartment, okay? That's the cat, okay? New York, state of mind, he no have it, okay? Okay? Anyway, so I think,
let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something, okay? Okay, so a New York state of mind, by definition, all right, I want to read it because this is what I think when it comes to the whole Cat situation. It means adopting the unique fast-paced, ambitious, resilient, and sometimes gritty mindset associated with New York City. I don't see the resilience or the grittiness that a New York mindset has. The other stuff, yeah, I could see that. I could see Cat liking the other stuff. It says that it's a constant hustle, endless possibilities, cultural vibrancies, and mix of excitement and danger. I feel like Cat enjoys half of those, but not the ones that are costly, not the ones that require, the grit and the toughness and the danger and the aggression that comes with a New York mindset. So I don't think that Cat, if he stays, is going to get over it. Honestly, like I do not think that this is something that he shakes. And if it's true that that's why he's playing that way, we have to find a way. We have to find a way this year. Like if he can't shake it, no one else can shake that for him. It's just not something we can do. And so that's that. But Mikhail, like I really feel like if he's gonna be that, then we gotta hold on to him. But if he's not, then we gotta move on from him. And that's so frustrating when we seriously have a week to make that decision. Like he does not give us much time to decide based off what we saw last night. If we would have saw this start of January, it would have been a different story completely. But before we go on to the next one, I think Cody's back there, but seriously, he looks like right now I can barely see him, so it kind of looks like the Blair Witch Project. So I don't know if Cody's there. Like seriously, it's like shaky like movement camera. I saw his eyes for a second, but now I don't.
Yeah, it's Blair Witch.
Cody, if you see us, give us a thumbs up if we can figure it out. If you need some time, let us know, Cody. If you need some time.
Hey, that last pour, it had Japanese something. What was it?
No, that one's cranberry.
Oh, that was cranberry vanilla.
Oh, it was just cranberry vanilla. Okay.
Yeah. The next one that we're gonna do is the Japanese cherry.
Cause I smelled a lot. I got a lot of floral notes on the nose, man.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Yeah. That's gonna be the next one we're gonna do is the Japanese cherry tree. I think he's there. I'm gonna try to bring him up, and if it looks horrible, I'm gonna tell him to contact us as soon as he gets home. So let's see.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Barely. Are you on your way home?
Yeah, I am. I just dropped 25.
Oh wow! All right,
nice. Let's go.
Okay, that's
fine. How far are you from the house?
I'm about 10 minutes away.
All right, do me a favor. Get home so we can actually see you, and then we'll have you hop on and talk about the brand and the Japanese cherry tree.
All right, yes, sir. I'll contact you in about 10 minutes.
All right, sounds good, bro. See you soon.
All right, brother.
Bye. All right.
Got us a Jalen Brunson out here, man.
Ebony, there's always whiskey for Eb. Like if we get you on the show, we send you the samples. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Shout out to Ebony, one of my favorite people in this whole community. But let's talk. Also, I want to play this highlight reel, and I want you guys to point out what you notice from this highlight reel. Okay, this is a reel that IQ for 3. He goes by Teg on Instagram. Yeah, I love his little highlight clips and stuff like that. He put this one together, and to me, it was very, very telling. So let's see what we got here. Share screen. Boom. Once again, the volume's got to go. Here we go.
That was nice. Aggressive to the basket.
Oh, that's when it happened. I remember listening. What's going on? Since when is he doing all this driving?
Yeah, he does not play like this. Like,
What's going on?
Yo. Even the way he's taking his threes, like no hesitation.
I realized NBA players, a lot of these NBA players, they get into it with fans, and once they get into it with fans, all of a sudden they start. It's like they wake up. And I noticed that when he started doing the travel thing, I was listening when that happened. I even thought, I'm like, did he travel on that play? He caught the ball a couple steps and took that.
You guys tell me real quick.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that stood out to you from that video, and then if you don't catch what I'm trying to show, I'm going to replay it. Apollo, what are your thoughts first?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Him driving to the basket every play.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. What about you, Al?
That's what stood out to me the most, was him driving to the basket. I did notice he was jumping straight up on his threes and just not hesitating on his threes. He looked way more confident shooting the ball. But the most eye-opening thing was him going to the basket.
Okay. Yes, but no. Let's watch it again. All right. Let's watch it again.
In a post? No, he does that.
No, that was only
look for something else. Look for something else.
Cats on the floor the whole time?
Nope. But wouldn't surprise me. Once I share it, you guys will be like, oh yeah.
Toon mentioned he's going into contact, which is true.
Yeah.
Yep, but that's not the point either.
That's not it.
Okay.
It's all assists.
It's all assists. But in all of those but 2 plays, Jalen Brunson's not on the floor.
Oh,
okay.
And when Jalen Brunson is in 2 or 3 of those plays, he's not facilitating. It's someone else that's causing the movement. It's a pass by Brunson, 2 passes by Hart, a pass by Towns. Jalen Brunson didn't have the ball in any of those possessions. And in that second half, more than 2/3 or 3/4 of those were from Tyler Kolek. So all of those opportunities was just be moving and we will find you. A lot of times what you see with Mikal Bridges is a dribble handoff and Mikal having to figure it out. In none of those did Mikal have to get aggressive. The movement opened up the opportunity that all he had to do was lean into it. Like it was a cut with the perfect pass that all he had to do was pick it up and drive. It didn't have to start at the top of the key, him then have to get aggressive and then have to get a bucket. The only one that it was actually aggressive on his end was that first one, which was the post up. All the others were him being in motion and being willing to be aggressive in motion. And so that's one thing that me and Lee were talking about today. I was like, is this something that we need to pay attention to? Because Josh Hart was looking for him on the move, was looking for the cuts, was looking to dish out to him. OG, willing to draw traffic, dish it out to him. Kolek, constantly looking for him. And so Kolek was a facilitator in so many of those shots. And if you look at his numbers, Kolek had 10 assists in 20 minutes and was the highest plus minus out of any Knick in that game. And so when our team actually moves the ball the way Mike Brown says he wants the offense to move, it unlocks something in Wingstop offensively. what we've wanted from OG and Mikhail seems to happen a lot more effortless when the facilitating was not done by our captain. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I'll go with you first, Al.
Man, that is interesting. I did hear a lot of that chatter on Twitter today. A lot of folks were saying that, as soon as Brunson hit the bench, that's when the ball movement picked up, right? Cap didn't have his best game yesterday. He was 5 for 13, 4 assists. But I think it's facts. When he's not on the floor, the ball is moving a lot more. We got to see this in a bigger sample size last year. Remember when he hurt himself and he missed like 15 games? We saw, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby take huge steps offensively, right? So yeah, it's the proof is in the pudding there. I think the way that he plays again is coming under fire a little bit. I think, and this goes back to the conversation we were having about Giannis and how he's going to be second fiddle. It's like, dude, like, get your team going, get your guys going. It's only going to end up opening up more shots for you or easier shots for you if they're dangerous. And towards the end of the game in clutch time, you're going to be the one getting the ball anyway. So, like, you got a clean at least 7 field goal attempts coming your way down the stretch. So pace yourself for the rest of the game and get your guys going. He really needs to take heed to that and start doing a lot more of that.
And that makes me go, huh, okay. And Apollo, I'll have you touch on this. We talked about how maybe Mikhail in his interview, was he really talking about him or was he talking about something else? One of the things he said was showing up for my teammates. Like, is there any possibility, that like he saw the fruit of other people dishing to him and that was part of his comment? Because if you look, Jalen, I was ecstatic earlier in the season seeing 8 assists, 7 assists, 9 assists here and there, like every once in a while. But it was still a progression. It wasn't like a Tyrese Halliburton, like 16 assists kind of, point guard. But I was like, oh, he's at least trying, he's like dishing and stuff like that. But to see that, like, OG had more assists, Hart had more assists, Mikhail matched his assists, Kolek blew him out by 6 assists, like, do you think that could have anything to do with, the team not fully transitioning into this system? Is that as soon as we revert back to an isocentric, way of play, these guys feel like they're cuffed, feel like they're, completely taken out of the game? What are your thoughts, Paulo?
I think so. I mean, it's something that even when we played those games without Brunson, I don't think we necessarily won a lot of those games. We might have won. I don't know how many we won at those games. But the ball moved a lot better. There was a few times where this year, even last night, I'm watching the game and he brings the ball up. The one thing that does frustrate me about Brunson, and I don't really speak too much about things that frustrate me about Brunson because he's my favorite Knick right now, obviously. Well, outside of Josh, but anyway, is he brings the ball up and he walks it up. Like, he doesn't put pressure on the defense. He allows the defense to set up in a way. And to me, that's why we've always had like the slowest pace, one of the slowest paces in the league. We don't really get up the floor. You know what I mean? We kind of lollygag up the floor. Even when you have to inbound the ball, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they scored, but inbound the ball, let's get up the court, put some pressure on the defense, just try to make things happen. And when he does that, he plays better. I think he plays better when he's at that faster pace. When he's at the slow pace, everyone knows you're about to go into ISO. That your own teammates know it as well when you're about to go into ISO. And there was even some plays last night where it was kind of like the shot clock was running down and he's then in like 4 or 5 seconds left, he passes to somebody. So it's, you know, you gotta adjust. You know what I mean? The like you say all the time, Phil, at a certain point this season in the beginning, we were playing really well in that system. The ball was moving. We had, you know, a lot of, I think 300 and something touches per game or something like that. And guys were passing the ball, and that's kind of something that we moved away from. Brunson, yeah, he's the captain. He's the guy who, you know, without a doubt can get a bucket whenever, but you know, like I said, I'm usually the kind of guy like, listen, no one else can go get a bucket. I mean, and it's the truth. There's no one when the ball isn't moving, when it's just, you know, when they lock everyone up and the ball isn't really moving like that, there's no one that can just break down their man outside of Brunson as well as he does. There's just nobody that can do it. But all you got to do is start moving the ball a little bit faster during the shot clock instead of waiting until 8 seconds left to throw the ball and try to get guys in motion. So yeah, man, I think it's something that we have to see if the coach can nip it in the butt. Is he gonna let it happen, or how's he gonna adjust to that? Because that's a different that's a different level of things. Our guys frustrated with how much he's just, you know, taking the ball out of their hands when they could be effective.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like,
Yeah.
One, I heard somebody say, I forgot what coach it was, that they said they coach their best players on the team the hardest. And I'm just like, are we sure that Brunson is being coached this way? Like, who's holding Brunson accountable? And that's the part that bothers me, that his dad is there. Because I'm like, can we truly hold him accountable in front of his dad and stuff like that? Like, that adds a little bit of a different dynamic. But who are we sure that that's happening? Is he getting coached hard, or are they just letting him do what he wants to do? He's getting away with a lot, because for 2 years in a row, we've heard coaches say that we want to be playing fast, and we end up playing at the bottom pace of the NBA. And that's clearly because that's how Brunson wants to play.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, I think in order for this Knicks team to win, we actually have to distribute. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, we can't be that predictable. But without further ado, I got Cody from one of my favorite brands right now, Good Times. And, you know, some of my favorite, like I said, the innovation these guys have is insane. Like, their labels are the biggest labels in the whiskey industry, because they're so innovative that it takes that much label space to explain how incredible of something you're going to drink. Like this one right here, Blueberry Hawaiian Honey. I don't even know. I didn't know until I drank them that there was a difference between Hawaiian honey and any other kind of honey. But apparently there is. So it's different and it's on the label. So distilled in Indiana. That's always a good thing, because who doesn't like MGP? Like, let's be real about it. All right. And then it's barrel strength, also a plus. But then here, single straight bourbon whiskey, finished in blueberry brandy. Blueberry brandy? We just had cranberry brandy. There's blueberry brandy. I didn't know that. Like, I make cocktails and I've never heard of blueberry brandy, but that sounds awesome. And then Hawaiian honey casks. I didn't even know Hawaiian honey was a thing, or yet alone that there was casks. So I just finished one of their pecans, which was one of my favorite bottles that I've had in my collection. And the only thing that sucked about it was that it was one of these tiny bottles, and I kept nursing it. And I was like, I don't want to ever let this go. And then I made some pecan old fashions for me and my wife the other day, and it's gone. But I'm excited because I'm a huge fan of this brand, and I'm looking forward to having Cody come up for a little bit. He just dropped 25, I believe, on some schmoes that were playing some basketball with him. So even though he might not follow the New York Knicks, he's a hooper. So give it up for Cody from Good Times.
Guys,
Yo,
what up? How's it going, bro?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good, man. Good. Where you at?
Good, man.
I'm at my girlfriend's house. I know. We just got done playing basketball. We had a long game. It was double OT, and we won.
Dang.
Nice. That's what's up.
Nice. Got the W.
Are you in Kentucky?
Yeah, I am. I'm in Louisville.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. So for the people that are watching that have no clue who the heck Good Times are, tell us a little bit about the brand, how you play a part, and what your role is.
All right. So my dad is one of the owners of the company. And with that being said, what we do is we specialize in finishing MGP and a selection of different finishing casks. We have cooperages all over the world that know we like to do some creative, pretty cool stuff and finishes. So we work with a lot of people to get used empty bourbon barrels that have been second used on the market. And a lot of people, they'll use these barrels. They'll make like blueberry brandy, pineapple brandy, coconut rum. They'll put them all in bourbon barrels and age them. And with that being said, the wood will kind of pick up on that flavor profile. And then with that being said, they'll take it out. We'll put our bourbon in there, and it has this very unique, creative flavor. It's really good. I was saying it's not overdoing it. It's not like it tastes like Old Smokies or something like overly finished and flavored. You just kind of get a hint of it, and it tastes amazing.
I love it. I love it. And so for those of you guys who don't know what MGP is pretty much like a commercial distillery. Think of like a place where brands that might not have their own distilleries, they don't have their own warehouses to be able to produce this stuff. They're able to pretty much commercialize by the best of the best that they enjoy. So it's all distilled in Indiana, bourbon, rye, and then independent bottlers or private brands such as Good Times can then buy it and say, how do we make this delicious thing our own? And so they either mix it with another blend of something else, or they then finish it in their unique barrels, which is one thing that Good Times is so known for. Is, all right, a lot of people might take this and mix it with a different barrel of whatever. Theirs are a lot of them mostly single barrels that they then age it in a different barrel that is unique and ridiculous and delicious, such as Hawaiian honey, which you didn't know existed until you bought a Good Times bottle of whiskey. So one that I want to show you guys that you can tell your dad, like, I would fight him if I first sampled this while, he was around me. He sent me this thing right here.
The hot honey
anything.
Yeah, that one's interesting,
bro,
right there.
That was one of the most painful things to hit my mouth because I did not expect it. Like, that thing kicked me in the freaking face. This is something that I would not give my worst enemy to drink neat, but it would be absolutely delicious mixed in with a different bourbon for a old fashioned to give you some of that like heat at the end of it. But by itself, it was a swift kick to my freaking jaw. Like, it hurt so bad drinking that.
I'll say it's definitely something. There's a winery down the road from our distillery that they go to all the time. It's called Forest Edge, and they have this hot wildfire wine, and it's got those peppers in there. So they loved it. They took the inspiration from that, and they tried it in 2 honey casks. They did an age-dated one and a non-age-dated one, and people loved them. I mean, both barrels sold pretty quickly. I was saying it was a pretty good, unique product right there.
Yeah, they're so unique because at first, and I don't drink a lot or eat or drink any like a lot of spicy stuff. Like, I just can't. Like, people are like, "Oh, you're Puerto Rican." I'm like, you know nothing about Puerto Rican food. Puerto Rican food is not spicy. Like, we are one of the few Latinos who like do not put a bunch of spice. We use a lot of flavor. But so my wife always makes fun of me. So when I sipped it, I first got the honey and I was like, and then all of a sudden the spice kicked in. And I like ran for some water, and she's like dying laughing, and she loves spicy. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a freaking baby. Give it to me." And then she drank it, and her eyes started to water, and she loves hot on hot sauce. So I was like, all right, I felt validated. But in a cocktail, absolutely delicious. So what's your role with the team, Cody?
I do a little bit of everything. I do some sales. I do a little bit of production. I help work with the accounting. I do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I try to learn as much as I can so that, when someone's not there one day or they need help with something, I can fill in about any role. But recently I've been focusing more on sales.
That's awesome. That's cool. And how long's the brand been around?
We started in 2020 out of Whiskey Thief, and we started with 4 single barrels of bourbon. And with that being said, they went all in on those barrels, and we had a list of finishing barrels that we could find from potential brokers and cooperages and stuff like that. And we started doing custom picks where people could come in and do their custom finish for their group. And from there, so many people were reaching out to us. We had to have barrels on demand. And we ended up outgrowing and getting our own distillery about 2-3 years ago. And then now we probably have about 500 barrels on site.
That's insane. I love that.
Wow.
So we drank this one while you were gone, which was the cranberry.
The cranberry? That one's really good.
Yeah, that cranberry is delicious.
Yeah.
So we're going to crack open this Japanese cherry tree. Tell us a little bit about it.
So that one is finished in a Sakura barrel, and it's finished for a pretty good amount of time. It gives it this very super sweet, kind of like viscous mouthfeel, and it's really good.
I love it. Yeah,
that's definitely one of my favorites. I think we've probably done 3 or 4 of them in the last 6 months, and it's definitely a fan favorite.
I love it. And I love the artwork. The artwork is so freaking dope. Like, it's so well done. That's what I love about your guys' stuff is like the labels match what's inside the bottle. So this one right here is 112 proof. And honestly, you guys that are in the chat, you'll appreciate this. I saw this bottle and it reminded me of this right here. Reminded me of this pair of kicks that I wish I had, but now they're way too expensive. But they reminded me of the Rui Hachimuras that are way too expensive on GOAT, but one day I'll get them. But that label reminded me of that with the cherry blossoms and everything like that. So let's crack that open, and then we'll talk a little bit about some ball. And even though you're not a Knick fan, I want to hear some of your thoughts on basketball itself. So while we crack this open, you play, but do you watch?
Not really, not as much as I'd like to. I'm always doing something. I go to college at WKU. So I drive back and forth quite often and hang out with my boys down there. I'm a big NFL fan. I played a lot of football in high school, and I got into basketball afterwards. And now I'm in this league. It's pretty competitive, and it's definitely something.
Is that Western Kentucky?
Who's your football team?
I played for my high school, and we won a state championship. And then from there, I just didn't really care about it. I just played football, and then I lifted after football, and now I hoop.
That's awesome.
I wish I hooped in high school. That would be tough, but.
Speaking of, all right. So Prezi said, "Can we get an orange and blue skies label?" I will talk to his dad and see about picking a bottle. That's one thing that we want to do. We've talked to a lot of the brands that have been on, and all of them are pretty pro Nightcap picking some bottles. So we might try to do something by playoffs where we come up with like, a bundle of like 5 to 10 bourbons that we've picked as the Knicks Nightcap for you guys to try out. But I will let you know, Apollo, unfortunately, I don't know why you didn't get sent this one, but this right here.
Here. What?
This is called the Creamsicle.
Creamsicle?
And Creamsicles were my favorite drink growing up. My favorite snack growing up. So I requested that one personally from Cody's dad, and he sent it over so graciously.
That's why I didn't get it.
Anything that's orange and blue skies will have a little bit of this creamsicle taste to it. So, all right. So Cody, sit for a second as we talk a little bit more about the Knicks, and then come back to you. But guys, so we're talking about trades. We're at that point. We have. When's the deadline? It's the 5th or the 7th? 5th, right? Okay. So besides the 2 that we talked about, do you guys think that the Knicks make moves? Because one thing that me and Lee were talking about is looking at the Knicks in the month of January, and then looking at how we played against the Kings in this last game. I'm still not convinced that we are title contenders. I'm looking at some of these other teams, I just do not believe that we are currently title contenders. And that's not hating. That's just me trying to be realistic. The fact that we are tied with a Boston Celtics team that doesn't have Jason Tatum and traded their championship pieces away, in Porzingis and Drew Holiday, and are riding on the backbone of pretty much Jaylen Brown and Pritchard, they're still tied with us, so I personally don't see us going 7 games and winning against an OKC, a Spurs, a Nuggets,
No.
a Rockets. You know, even sometimes the Sixers, I'm like, all right, if Embiid has the kind of games that he's been having and he can do it for 4 quarters by the time playoff time comes, because against us, first half he was crazy and then he slowed down in the second quarter. I mean, in the third quarter and fourth because he was gassed from coming back. But if he's able to do what he did in those first 2 quarters and what we saw him do in the 2 games prior to ours, I don't know if we go 7 games against that team either. So what are your guys' thoughts? Do the Knicks need to make moves to be title contenders? I'll go with you first, Apollo.
Wow. To be a title contender, I gotta say yes. I think they're a really good team. I think they are. I still think they're a Eastern Conference Finals team. You know what I mean? I just don't think that they haven't shown me enough that they can be a title contending team. This as the way this team is currently constructed. Personally, I think there's some tweaks. You're seeing him sit Cat. You're seeing him sit Jordan Clarkson. There's talks about a Yabusele trade. I think there's something that kind of needs to happen to make things flow a little bit easier for the guys. And just to make the chemistries mesh a little bit more. And I'm not sure if I said the other day, I'm not sure if we have everything we need staff wise and mentally to get to that plateau that we need to get to. I don't think we have it just yet.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Al?
I think we got to make a trade. If it's not the Giannis trade, I'm okay with that. If we don't take that swing, I go back and forth on the Giannis thing. I have huge concerns about his Achilles. You know, I joke that I'm going to add CAS to the rest of my name. I'm a certified Achilles specialist because I swear that dude's going to pop his Achilles as soon as he comes here, and it's going to immediately shut our window. So that just like terrifies me. So if they decide not to do it, that's okay. But we do need to fix this roster. I think this roster has flaws. It's a flawed roster. It was put together a little bit clumsy. We are very short. I hate how small we are. And that brings me to a fan favorite. If you go on my Twitter, you will see that I tweet about this all the time. I think the Knicks need to sell high on Deuce McBride. He's a 6'2" shooting guard that we can he for as much good defense as he plays, he ends up in a mismatch because they do hunt him all the time. He always ends up on a taller player that shoots right over him. Yeah. I love Deuce. Deuce is great. He has tremendous value. I think he has a lot of value in the trade market right now. He's a top performer for the Knicks right now, so it's gonna hurt to let him go. But I think we lack size. We need another wing, say a Sadiq Bey or Najee Marshall. And in order to get one of those guys, we're going to have to give something. And I say give up Deuce, like sweeten the deal with Deuce. Deuce is also contract eligible. He's going to command a $90 million salary, some people are saying. I just don't think we should spend that on a 6'2" guy. We already have a 6'2" dude. You know what I mean? Now, if Deuce was 6'2" and was a point guard and he could be the backup point guard, I would have no problems with him. But he's not. So now he has to be playing shooting guard. And so now he's paired with the point guard that's another probably 6'2" dude. And so that's problematic. Like Deuce needs to be paired up with the big point guard, like a Luka or like go somewhere like, I don't know, maybe like a Denver where he has Joker running point, you know what I mean? And then he doesn't have to worry about running point. He's a little bit of a clumsy fit here on the Knicks. I know that he's great. He's a fan favorite, but I think if you think about all those things, he's a good trade chip that could net us something that we need. And I think we need wings a little bit more.
Yeah. It's hard because for me personally, I'm a huge Deuce fan. And for someone who has wanted to see someone not just become a Knick in a draft, but stay, for years to come, Deuce is not someone I really want to trade. But my whole thing is, if the front office is planning on letting him go and not signing him, then we need to trade.
You have to trade him.
At the end of the day, that's the only way I say trade Mitch either, is if they've already decided that those players aren't coming back. If those players aren't coming back, you don't let them walk while they have value and get nothing in return. Like, you got to get something. So that would be my trade to that. Shout out to everyone in the chat that's still rocking with us. No, Prezi, we do not gut the team. I think the only way I really want to do a Giannis trade is a 1-for-1. And if they need some second rounders, or they want to get rid of another player off their bench and they want Yabusele in return, take Yabuti, and do what you got to do with Yabu over there. I appreciate his good attitude and, his effort these last few games, but it's just not enough. So shout out to the chat. Shout out to Cody's girlfriend. I know she was in the room earlier. Appreciate you and letting your man, not be on girlfriend time and hanging out with a bunch of basketball players after he just gave up his night with you to hang out with some basketball players. So it's just like basketball on basketball on basketball with a side of whiskey. So shout out to Cody's girlfriend. She's the true MVP. Yeah. But guys, here's the thing. I thought that when Trae Young got traded, that it was going to be a wildfire of trades that came after that. And it's been completely silent since that trade, which means to me, the last few days of the trade deadline are going to be crazy. Yeah. And the reason I say that is not because, I'm just going off of my own hunch that I think it's going to happen. But if you look at the contending players, a lot of them on these teams, they've just faced injuries that change, what can happen long-term for their season. So they're going to be wanting to make some trades to make sure that they stay in their positions. So like Steven Adams, even though he was coming off the bench, he was still, a piece, for the Rockets. He's undergone season-ending injury. So they might be looking for something to fill that gap. They might be looking for something to fill, their need there. Shams has also talked about Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon just went down and has to be reevaluated in like 6 weeks. So they may be looking for something at least in the interim, or if when he's reevaluated, there's still an issue, that what are they going to do? It was just talked about that Okongwu is possibly now on the market for the Hawks, and they're looking to see like what they can get for him. So teams are going to be looking. Jimmy Butler went down. That's one of the biggest ones. And they don't want to waste a Steph Curry season, where they're actually competing right now. So they're going to go, and they're one of the teams that apparently have been, in the talks for Giannis. So you have a lot of teams that are trying to go all in. There are people that are saying that the Orlando Magic have explored what it would look like to try and make a trade for Karl Anthony Towns, because that would help them with their need for shooting. And that would give, an option for Banchero to be able to not have to be so offensive, focused for them, and kind of divvy up some of that responsibility. And add another shooter alongside Bane. So some of these big teams that are already contenders are looking to make big moves. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting last few days of the trade deadline. And I think everyone is waiting to see, is someone else going to offer more than me before I put my chips on the table? And I think that the last few minutes of the trade deadline are going to be really, really crazy. So I'm looking forward to that. So back to Cody. Cody, what big things you guys got in the works right now?
So we're doing some really cool stuff with Bruzzles right now. Bruzzles has a candy bar series going, and he's getting a Rolo, like a Mound, and a Snickers going. And two of them he's gonna drop it through his tiers, but the tier members can only buy one or the other. So that it goes down into the tiers. I want to say that Thin Mint was a really big success with him. So he wants to do another candy bar series.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty big. We have a bunch of different stuff coming in. I think we're getting a Toe to Heaven Hill. That'll be pretty good. And then I know they just went by Sitzelweller and got some pretty unique barrels from them. I would say
That's
I know
awesome.
they're not really releasing any information on that yet until they get
Yeah.
it to us.
That's awesome. That's really
Mhm.
cool. So are you a whiskey drinker, like outside of your brand, your own brand?
No, not really. I've only really had our brand. I'm pretty bougie when it comes to it. I've never had to like drink not good stuff. We'll just be chilling and they'll pour me like a Michter 20 and they're just like, yo, this is like a really expensive bottle. And I'm just like, all right.
Hey, speaking of Michter 20, I noticed none of these really had an age statement. Are you guys planning on doing any age stated stuff?
So our good old times is going to be 7 years or older, and our traditional good times is just 5, 6, 7 years. Some of them will be 7, depending on what levels we have in house. But I would say some of the good old times we have some older products. I think our oldest one of those is we have a 21-year Canadian rye finished in a honey cask. That's probably our oldest good times product. Yeah, and I know we're in the talks of finishing some Bartons here soon. I know we're getting some like 9 or 10-year Bartons in, and we're going to start finishing those and having a Kentucky series. I know we have some Wild Turkey Hawaiian honey labels coming in. That'll be a next project.
That's awesome. I love that. So I'm putting where you guys can buy Good Times and see some of the crazy stuff they have. So they got that hot honey, which if your mouth can take it, you're a bigger man than I am. They got the Mexican vanilla cigar batch. They got the Casa Añejo, which that's gotta be delicious.
It's really good.
Gosh, that sounds so good. They got the double banana caramel. They got the banana bread. They got double oaked Mexican vanilla. Like, that's the thing is like they take something that you're like double oaked, and they're like, it's not just double oaked, it's double oaked Mexican vanilla. Like Mexican vanilla? Like that's what I didn't know.
It gets specific, doesn't it?
Vanilla.
I know you got Hawaiian honey, you got Mexican vanilla. We've done a Madagascar vanilla before. Apparently, I've never tried the Madagascar vanilla, but apparently you can tell the difference in the two vanillas. Like, it's actually pretty noticeable.
That's crazy to me. Like, for me, you say vanilla, I'm like, yeah, vanilla. The only other variation of vanilla I've ever heard is like French vanilla.
Yeah,
and even then, I'm like,
they really specify.
That was such a pompous thing for the French to be like, this is French, but now everyone's got their own vanilla. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's nuts. I love it.
Especially with our wide variety of like finishing barrels we'll get. In different companies we use different vanilla bean and stuff like that. We really have cooperages everywhere that we get all these pretty unique, interesting barrels. Like a cranberry brandy. I mean that's pretty unique. You know what I mean? And luckily we had someone hit us up and say we have one. Most of our great barrels, we have the Forest Edge Winery down the road. We'll give them barrels and they'll actually put sweet wines in there and then they'll give it back to us afterwards.
That's sick. That's awesome.
I'm sorry. I just say something that said double banana caramel.
Yeah, dude, It's crazy. Yeah, it's so we put in the banana brandy cask and then we put in a caramel barrel and then we put it back in that banana brandy cask and it's just dude, it tastes literally like caramel bananas. It's really good.
It made my eyes water.
I gotta order some. Yeah.
It's insane. Like, it's crazy. All right, so Cody, before we start wrapping up, what are your 2 favorite good times that you've ever had?
That's a hard question. That double banana caramel is definitely one of them. That one's really hard to beat. We've done some really good Neapolitan. No, we just did a chocolate cocoa loco, half a barrel dropped in Michigan in Kalamazoo, and that was probably my favorite one we've ever done. It was straight chocolate. It took me 3 hours to filter that whole barrel.
That's crazy.
Because the bourbon was so thick of chocolate. Like, it took me 5 different like filters in like 3 hours to find.
Is that the chocolate coconut one that you guys did?
It's called a chocolate cocoa loco.
It's insane.
Yeah. And I mean, and we do custom everything. So if you guys ever want to do like a cool New York Knicks bottle, we could get a cool little New York Knicks barrel pick going.
That'd be awesome.
Dude,
I love it.
Do that.
I love it. So what I need you to do, all right, is you need to tell your dad that on national television, I called him out that I need that cigar batch. That cigar batch looks insane.
The Mexican vanilla cigar?
Vanilla. It needs to be the Mexican vanilla.
Yep.
And that Miami Vice. Is that good?
The Miami Vice, yeah. So on the one we have now, We have a few in the gift shop, and they're very strawberry forward, coconut strawberry, a little bit of pineapple. It's really good.
All right. Well, you tell your dad that on national television or YouTube, whatever you want to call this, that I called him out about those 2 barrels, and that we need to do a review on those before the season's done, because
did we
those
send
2
all 3 of you samples?
Al wasn't on it yet. But yeah, he sent me an Apollo. So yeah, if we definitely are down to try whatever the frick.
Yeah, I can definitely see what he says. Let me see if we have any more Mexican vanilla cigars in house. Okay. But if we do, I can see what I can do.
All right.
You talk? Yeah, I actually love cigars too. But can you talk about the subscription?
Yeah, you love them too. Might as well. Yeah, just send everyone's information to my dad, and he can get those over to you.
Okay, I'll message him tonight and let him know I put him on blast.
Yeah. Can you talk about the subscription service that you have on?
Oh yeah, so we actually have a subscription service where every month we'll ship a bottle directly to your doorstep. It's $120. I believe shipping is $20 as well, and we send some pretty unique bottles. We definitely are sending some of our top tier stuff, trying to get members. Some months we've sent 2 bottles. Some months, we're in the talks of maybe 1 month dropping a 18-year double oaked American light whiskey. It's $300 retail. We've dropped that 21-year-old Hawaiian honey Canadian rye. We've sent a Añejo and a double oaked before, and we just sent some pretty good product. Next month we're sending out it's called a Menage a Trois. It's an Old Rick blend, and it's a 3-barrel blend of 2 ryes and a light whiskey, and it's really good.
Nice.
That's hilarious. The play on words was pretty spot on and amazing. That's awesome. All right, Cody. So where can everybody follow you guys?
You can follow us at Good Times Bourbon on Instagram and Facebook, or Cox's Creek Distilling. All the accounts are kind of like linked together, but if you look up Good Times Bourbon, you'll see on every platform.
That's awesome. All right. Yep. So Cody, next time I'm in Kentucky, we got to find a court. We're going to hoop it up, and we're going to play the clips on the Knicks Nightcap of Cody spanking the living daylights out of the old podcast host that is Phil Porto.
I know. I almost caught one in a game today. I almost caught an oop on someone, but it just slipped out barely.
Yeah.
Don't end up on the poster, Phil. Don't end up on the poster.
Phil, stay away from that, please.
It's fine. That might grow the channel even more, bro. Like, I'm down to embarrass myself.
Let's see what you're doing there.
Cody, man, thank you so much for joining us. Tell your girlfriend we truly, truly appreciate her. And maybe we'll have to have you on again for another episode in the playoffs, bro.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, just email my dad about those 2 bottles, and we'll get those samples over, I'm sure, sometime this week.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one. I'm
getting that double banana caramel. I did the
all right, I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put that in there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm definitely gonna hit them up right now. All right, guys. So we had some good whiskey. We had some good Knicks talks. Let's say the Giannis trade doesn't happen. All right, and we're able to just get one player that might be on the market. I'm gonna have you guys give me who you would want to see on this team by the trade deadline. And I'll go with you first, but without further ado, I cannot do this without keeping the streak alive of me and the Latin assassin being on the same page. Here's the thing. You don't turn the page on a book too soon if the chapter is that good. You kind of just read a sentence here and there and you let it live, because you never know if that next chapter is going to be as good. And me and Lee right now, we on the same page right now. So this chapter is dang good. So we're going to ride it till the cows come home. So without further ado, the Latin assassin himself, Mr. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Let's go!
Yo, Lee is crazy.
Hey, yo.
My guy.
Yo, Lee, bro, look below at Al's glow up, bro.
Look, man, that's actually the reason I came on here. I didn't come on here just to talk Knicks. I actually want to come on here and face-to-face welcome Al from Harlem to Mikhail.
Thank you, brother.
Brother.
Thank you.
So glad to have you, man. I've been watching the show, enjoying your takes, but most of all, enjoying the chemistry you're starting to form here with my main man, Apollo Reed. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
My guy. Good
And
to
then,
see
of
you.
course, Phil Porto, who has been my cousin for a very long time. I think this channel is growing, and you guys got a nice trio going on right now, a great 3-man weave. And I wanted to officially be the welcoming committee for you to be a part of a KOT family. Welcome out.
Thank you, man. I'm super pumped to be a part of this, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Hell yeah.
Lee, this is a perfect time. We're getting ready to start wrapping up, but we're going to talk about if we can't get Cat and we don't want to stay put, who do we at least go for? So I'll go for Al because we already talked about the question, and then I'll go to you so that you have a moment to think about it. But Al, anybody that you would go after if we can't grab Giannis right now, but we still want to improve by the trade deadline?
I'm just gonna think about like what I've been hearing out there, and I really like Najee Marshall, but I've been hearing that he's not gonna be available for us to get him. So I don't know about that. And then Sadiq Bey is the other guy that I really, really like. Villanova product, should come in with some chemistry. The other thing about swinging these trades mid-season is like it sometimes can, the chemistry can be there and you can take off, and it's other times it can like kind of mess with the chemistry and you need some time to like really gel before you get into the playoffs. So with him, you would think that the chemistry would be there and they can like take off hopefully from day one. So I think he's a good fit. But other than that, not too many names out there. I do like the Yves Messi deal. I just don't know what it all means, especially for like Mitchell Robinson. The Jose Alvarado thing I'm not really big on because he's 6'0", and I'm big on upgrading this team's height. So I'm gonna pass on the New Orleans stuff. So my two picks that are not Giannis, Najee number 1, Sadiq Bey number 2.
Okay. All right. Latin Assassin, what are your thoughts?
Well, one of the reasons why you and I have been agreeing so much is that we both think that we have to move on from Karl-Anthony Towns. I've become pretty adamant from that. I don't believe this Knicks team can win a championship. Not because of Karl-Anthony Towns being zesty or being soft or his offensive game being inconsistent, any of the offensive fouls, none of those reasons. It's defense.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships. I always prioritize defense in a way that I look at the NBA and basketball in general. And you cannot have two cones at the two most important positions on the floor, the 1 and the 5. So Brunson's not going anywhere. What does that mean? Cat has to be moved. And even if we don't get Giannis, if we fail in negotiations because, say, Golden State or Miami outbids us, we still need to move Cat at the deadline, in my opinion, to not punt on this year. And I think we should do it not just for another – Giannis is the superstar target, right?
Yep.
I don't think there's a 1-for-1 trade beyond that. There's no one out there, even if it's Jaren Jackson Jr. or anyone else who has a similar contract, I think we should avoid that. Instead, we should go for a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 and bring in defensive-minded players that have a dog mentality and also attach her swaps and maybe even a Cole Sarfield or other young piece to make it happen, because we need a defender at the 5 that can't just get hunted and spamming on defense and roll. And there's a couple options out there, I think, that are not – I'm not going to say they're realistic because they haven't been reported on, right? So this is purely hypothetical. But I'm going to use these two examples as archetypes, okay, placeholders for the type of trades I think the Knicks should target. One of them is like looking at Phoenix. Okay, Phoenix is doing really good right now. They're hot. Dylan Brooks is having a career year. But you have to ask yourself, are they a championship contender? Hell no. In the West, can they beat the OKC Thunder, San Antonio Spurs, Denver Nuggets, even the Timberwolves in a 7-game series? Absolutely not. Who's Karl-Anthony Towns' best friend? Devin Booker. So what if you sent Karl-Anthony Towns to Phoenix and you got back Dylan Brooks, Nick Richards type combination? Now, people will be like, Nick Richards, bum, he's in out of the rotation. All these things are true. But to add a Dylan Brooks, a more movable contract down the line, should you want to upgrade later on, that's an easier contract to flip than Towns, whose contract, I believe, is ascending into next year. I would rather have a combination of gritty players. You could even possibly increase that trade to include also Ishidoro, who's been an excellent rim protector at the 4 spot, sits 11, play a little bit of ball 5. But those type of combinations, or in Orlando, a Jalen Suggs, Wendell Carter Jr. type situation, or Atlanta, looking at a Nneka Okongwu type situation, and KP, Those type of deals where, yes, there are negatives about it, whether it be a contract or health issues or maybe motor, sure. But do they play defense? That's a priority. Because right now, I think we have the number one option, the hardest thing to find, is Brunson. And we have some badass wings and Hart, Bridges, and Obi. And we have some dogs on the bench too, and Deuce, obviously Mitch and Shamet. But we need the center position solidified if we're worried on a winning chip.
You know, I couldn't agree more with you. And we talked earlier that one of the big things right now is people are like, well, if we don't get we don't trade for Giannis, there's no point in moving Cat. We talked about it earlier in the show. If Cat is really that shaken up that he was talked about in trades for the summer, and that's affected his game, you don't think that that's going to continue to affect his game, that he's been marketed up to the trade deadline, and knowing that if it's not now, it's in the summer? No, of course it's going to affect him, because he's not the kind of player that's going to prove you wrong, and play out of his mind so that you doubt it. He's going to prove you right and continue to digress, and you go, dang it, we should have done it last summer. So for us, it's something we have to move on from. It's something we have to look into moving on from, even if it's for, expiring contracts that we then move on from this summer. At least someone that's going to try to put their all in to helping us win a chip this year. Because I don't think that Karl Anthony Towns at this current state has the DNA that we need to win a chip. And so I agree with you. It doesn't have to be a blockbuster trade for me to move on from Cat. And that's not to say that Cat is not a good player. That's to say that this season, Cat has proven that he's not our player. He does not fit what we need here at the New York Knicks in 2025-2026 season.
I think I tweeted this today too. I think that obviously I'm assuming this because I'm not inside people's heads, but I think a lot of the fear of breaking up his core is it's based in fear. You don't want to break up a team that you've been watching for a couple of years now, that you really like, that is fun to watch when they're really hot. Yeah, I get change is not a comfortable thing, but sometimes, especially contenders, all of them have to move on from either one or two pieces in order to really enact the true championship window. And when I think about it from a defensive point of view. I'm not thinking about this at all from offense. And we've really lost the plot when now we're trying to excuse Karl Anthony Towns' play or his contract based on how many rebounds he's given us. It's but the 22 rebounds. What? Andre Drummond will give you 22 rebounds for $5 million a year. The rebounds are that's not the issue. We need consistent rim protection, consistent defense in pick and roll coverages, someone who can actually close out on a shooter at the 5, or God forbid, switch on a ball screen against a wing that can hold his own. That's not Karl Anthony Towns. It's never been Karl Anthony Towns. It has nothing to do with age or attrition or injuries. It's not his player profile. We need a rim protector. We need Brunson to be contained within 4 elite defenders sharing the court with him at all times. And now Mike Brown is having to stagger Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns in order to maximize the defensive holes. And also that means that Karl Anthony Towns can't close. So now you're paying a guy $54 million who can't even close games for you. But again, we make up for it with the excuse about the rebounding or his pure shooting from the 5. I don't give a damn about any of that stuff. We ain't going to win a chip that way. We're going to fall apart in the playoffs, not in the second round, not even the ECF. But once we face a real championship contender in the finals, the Spurs, the Thunder, the Nuggets, we are going to lose. And we're going to get exposed. So it's better to move off him now than later. And I even think we should trade Bridges, but I don't think it's necessary to trade Bridges. I think it's necessary to trade Cat.
Yeah. You know what? It's crazy. Lee, you keep talking, and all I keep hearing is, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. Because we were talking earlier.
My guy.
And I was just like, it's so funny and comical to me. The people that want to come at me about, but what about the 22 rebounds that he got?
Yeah.
Yet when it comes to Mitchell Robinson and re-signing him, they're like, why would we re-sign a player that all he brings is rebounding? And I'm like, wait a minute. You're saying we should ignore the fact that Cat gets paid $53 million because he pulled down some rebounds, but you don't think that Mitch is worth an extension because all he does is bring down some rebounds. Like, wait a minute, you're glorifying the $53 million for bringing rebounds, but not the $13 million player who's bringing down rebounds every single night? That is crazy to me.
Agreed.
Yo, can I mention something about that? We played the Raptors, like, and I mean they're not trash, you know what I mean? But he grabbed 22 rebounds and he shot 2 free throws and had 8 points. I don't know how you're in a situation where you're the biggest guy on the court for 100% of the game, probably, and you as a 7-footer who's a star, an all-star, all-NBA player, it's in your resume. Like, you're not just some bum, bro. But you're not even getting to the free throw line. You're not putting the ball in the basket. It's a mental thing. And to me, he's checked out. And at this point, if you keep him here past the deadline, you risk ruining what is here and can actually get you to the next level. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't seem like he's the kind of person that'll just be able to move on from how he felt about whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not the first guy that's been included in trade talks. Clearly, you've been traded before. So, you know what I mean? I think it's just when someone's checked out like that, if they're not being aggressive, they're not showing that they are who they are, what their resume claims that they are. I'm not sure that you can switch that around without making that move.
Yeah, it's also kind of absurd to pinpoint the 22 rebounds against a team that didn't play a natural center.
Yeah.
Like, no shit, he's going to have a lot of rebounds.
Exactly.
Jacob Porto didn't play, and they were playing 3s and 4s at the 5 spot. Like, of course. I think to me, it's like when I hear stuff like this, I'm like, that's your bias talking. You're in your emotions. You don't want to be wrong. You've attached yourself to a tape. You're not willing to get offered or willing to amend it. Sometimes you have to remove the personal feelings of like how you associate yourself with your team or with a certain player and be able to say, you know what, my bad. My tape is going to evolve as a product in front of me evolves and evidence in front of me evolves, and change your mind. And what I've seen this season under a new coach, I thought maybe Mike Brown could unlock some steams because he's smarter than me, right? I'm an amateur when it comes to basketball X's and O's. I would expect the new coach to be way smarter than me, especially one that now has a defensive coordinator, which Tibbs did not have. He was a defensive coordinator. Can he implement new schemes and make this a better zone team or make this better at switching on ball screens? And no, we can't. Why? Not because of the personnel as a unit, but because of Carl Anthony Towns and how compromised he is in all of those different defensive schemes. So to me, you have to move on from him. But you're not going to get equal talent offensively, but you can get an upgrade defensively.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so real quick, Al, pour that creamsicle because I want to see what you think at the end of the day, which 3 are your favorite. This is delicious. So try it, and then before we end, I'll have you give your favorite of the 3 and Apollo of his 2. Apollo, your thoughts on a trade?
Man, you guys said a lot of names. The ones that I think I would I love to have a Sadiq Bey kind of guy over here if they're willing to move on from him. I'm not sure what's going on over there. I like that move a lot. I wouldn't mind Lee talking about the Phoenix trade with Brooks. I wouldn't mind that at all, especially because of just the mentality that Dillon Brooks has. He seems like the kind of guy that won't let what's happening in the current locker room happen. You know what I mean? Like you need one of those kind of guys that puts their foot down, like, hey, like let's get down to business. You know what I mean? And I feel like we don't have one of those guys right now. We don't have guys that just speak up and just don't care what other guys feel. I'm gonna just speak what really matters. We need somebody like that on the team. I mean, we do have Josh the closest one to it, but Josh is also still a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not trying to fight anybody. A guy like Dillon Brooks will fight you, and then the next day be like, "Yo, ready to go get this chip?" You know what I mean? And that's the kind of mentality you need on this team. And I don't think we've had one of those guys for a while. You know, and making that trade, you're not going to get back the equal player, I guess, and all of that, but the energy and the defense and the chemistry that kind of guy can bring when he's meshing with your team, I think that and he can spread the floor. He can shoot a little bit better than Josh does. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that's
Movement
something that
shooting.
can really help his. Yeah, movement shooting too. Something that can really help his team. As somebody that's willing to take that shot outside of a Jalen and maybe even a McCall sometimes, because McCall's the only other one that tries to take moving shots from 3 outside of
right
Brunson. So
Apollo, you know what the Nets need, man? They need Elias Escobedo. They need an athlete.
they do get
Listen, because you can't win a championship when every player has my mindset, right? You can't. And I'm using it because art types are real, right? And I fall into an art type. And I embrace my art type. So even furthermore, but you can't win a championship when everyone's an asshole like me. Then you have a Jailblazers, right? Or Denver during the mellow days. You need an assortment of personalities that balance each other, right? Sometimes someone pushes you further into the realm to where conflict breeds a hierarchy of the totem pole of who is everyone's role, who's at top and who's at bottom. Other times, you need someone to smooth over voice and say, you know what, this isn't the time for dissension. We got to lock in, put our egos aside, and get to business. Right? I'm not the right person for that. I'm the one that brings conflict and starts putting the best idea to the rising top. Right. And I think we're missing that. That person can't be PJ Tucker, the 15th guy into the bench. It needs to be someone in the rotation, even more likely someone in the starting rotation that can hold Brunson, Cat, Bridges, and OG accountable when they're playing like punks.
Yep. Exactly.
I love that. Yep. All right. So I'm just going to go off the top turnbuckle. All right. Like this is.
Here we go.
Oh, man. Might as well just go. Lee's not going to agree with me on this one, so I'm jumping off the page. But just because I'm having fun, because I want to end this on a fun, ridiculous way of doing it. Because I am, like I said, wanting to get off of this Cat deal. Because if he can't get it together now and help us win because of what happened in the summer, we're wasting time, like we are. And so if we can't get Giannis, I still want to trade somebody that can at least play this year, so it's not a completely wasted year, but someone that we can get off of their contract in the summer if we need to, with no problem. And so first, I will say we need to find someone for Yabu. We need to trade Yabu. It has to happen. If Yabu is here after the trade deadline, that's a fumble in the front office. Admit and cut your losses. That was a bad signing. Move on from it. All right. But besides Yabu, here's the trade that I know you guys aren't going to go for. And one of those players that I would do for Yabu is Swishin from the Spurs. Because I think that he's a risk, but no more of a risk than having Yabu on our team. If Swishin feels like he can get an opportunity and we need some athleticism, why not use him in the open court for that fast-paced offense? But one player that is a risk and is an expiring contract, and it would be 2 players for one, so we would have to trade Cat and a minimum contract like Dottier or something like that. But apparently the Hawks are trying to make more fire sale because after they traded Trey, there's other players that they don't feel are going to fit that trajectory. So I would be willing to trade Karl-Anthony Towns and Dottier for a return of Kristaps Porzingis and Onyeka Okongwu.
Hell yes.
Because Okongwu will then be an extended contract.
Yep.
If Porzingis and Brunson have the same chemistry they had in Dallas, where they could put 50+ points up combined every night, then we win. And we can rely on his stretching the floor 3-point shooting. And if it doesn't work, his contract's only guaranteed through the summer. Then you move on from Porzingis. You keep Okongwu as a great bench piece for our, power forward position to come in when OG needs to rest, and you still have a solid backup power forward. And then you find another, center over the summer if Kristaps Porzingis doesn't work. And if Kristaps Porzingis does work, then you have a fairy tale return story. And because of the injury possibility, you get him for a low compared to what you would have gotten him before. So for me, I would do Karl-Anthony Towns and Dottier for Okongwu and Porzingis in a heartbeat.
Did you run this by Fritz yet?
Huh?
Did you run this by Fritz yet?
No, I didn't run it by Fritz, but I looked at the numbers. So that's why we put in Dadier, because Porzingis, numbers wise, is only guaranteed for this season. He is guaranteed, let's see, 31 million. And then Okongwu is 15 million. So we still are, Cat is still more, so we do some smaller rotation pieces around that to balance it out. But in my opinion, that's a win-win.
I'm gonna bold. First of all, you absolutely cooked, Phil. That's a trade that I've talked about as well. I'm 100% behind it for every reason that you laid out, especially the financial ramifications. It's an obvious win because you cut your losses without taking on additional risk. And additionally, on top of that, it raises the floor and the ceiling of this team. Best case scenario, KP comes back. He's healthy for 60% of the games that he plays. We're absolutely winning the chip because now you have front court depth. Now you can give up different front court looks based on who you're playing, right? Sometimes it's Mitch, sometimes it's Okongwu at the 5, and sometimes it's KP. I think your floor increases as well. Let's say worst case scenario, KP has some terminal illness, that mystery disease he has.
Yeah.
His basketball career is over. He's out. You cut your losses. Now you have $35 million that opens up in cap space. You can re-sign Deuce. You re-sign Shamet. You re-sign Mitchell Robinson. And now Onyeka Okongwu becomes your starting 5. He gives you rim protection, three-point shooting, free throw shooting, defense, passing. Bro, are you kidding me? Pick and roll. He's excellent pick and roll offensively and pick and roll defensively. It's a win, bro.
Why do they want to get off of Okongwu? I like him. He's a good prospect. I don't understand why they want to get off him.
I think the incentive for them is to get off a KP contract, and because again, there's huge risk there. And additionally, they did Cat, who is a really nice fit next to Jalen Johnson, who's kind of like OG but with all NBA first team scoring ability. So they lost a lot of the floor space and getting rid of Trey. Now you replace at the center position without really having to commit to Cat's contract and that extension, that you can underpay him a little bit and get a discount and be able to balance your butts without having a really long-term deal. Or have to worry about paying someone down the line who's only on their rookie scale deal at the time.
Yeah. What I was getting at is that I think Atlanta has come out and said that they're willing to move Okongwu, and I just kind of don't get it. I thought they would be high on him.
So here's the thing, I believe. I think that they are really focusing on their young two-way players that they have right now, and they're either going to bring a piece like Cat would work that can be a veteran presence that has played more games than these guys and can be a guaranteed bucket. But I also think that it's a win-win trade for them, because if they don't want to keep Cat and whatever and Yabu, they can trade both of those for a smaller contract and a bunch of picks. Like if the team is completely rebuilding, you see every piece that you let go and you bring back in as how does this make our future better? Not our right now, because they're not contenders right now. Like Okongwu is a good player, but these guys aren't going to contend for the next probably 2 seasons. But in 3 seasons, these guys could be incredible, And so get all the assets that you can get and continue to build. And I just think that they believe Okongwu fits what a lot of teams could need right now. I
like him.
Yeah, is that defensive presence. But they have a lot of solid defenders on their team already. So I think they're looking for more scoring power now than they are anything else, because that was kind of what Trey was.
Yeah.
And don't sleep. Okongwu is also a great offensive rebounder and a sneaky good passer too. He can play mate for others. So I love the idea of even having him as a hub and running the offense.
A good shooter.
A good shooter and a good free throw shooter too. I think having another good free throw shooter is key in the front court.
We said this the other day. I don't know why you and I have not gone on outside and got lotto tickets. Like even when I thought I was closing the chapter on this chemistry of like basketball takes, you're like, bro, I absolutely love that. You're cooking. I'm like, I thought I put the apron down, but I guess I'm still cooking. This is amazing.
This is the longest I've gone without roasting a Phil tape, man. I mean, you're right.
This is the longest time I haven't looked at the Latin assassin and been like, basura.
Yeah, you got bit by the lead bug. That's what happened, man.
Let's go.
I love it. All right, guys, it's 10:50. Apollo's got to work in the morning.
That's tough.
Al's probably got to work in the morning. Lee's got to work in
Yeah.
the morning. And I got to work in the morning. So everybody, Lee, let people know where they can find the Latin Assassin.
Bring the smoke, whether you agree or disagree, to Twitter @_ Lee Escobedo, LEEESCOBEDO. Got some heat coming out for Bleacher Report and The Guardian this week, and then I'll be updating Substat for DLT
Nice.
as well.
Nice.
Love it. Killing it, killing it. Al, where can they find you?
Semiauto155 on Twitter. I'm really active on there, just like Lee. Also, I do have another podcast called Knick Life Crisis. Should be recording a new pod later this week, so look out for that as well.
Hell yeah, bro.
That's what's up. All right,
No,
which of
come
those
on.
three was your favorite?
I actually like the cran one the most, but they were all delicious, man. This
Cranberry?
is really awesome. I like this brand. Good Times. Yeah,
Yep.
I really like it.
So this was his favorite right there, the cranberry.
vanilla. Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, Apollo, where can they find you?
Guard Up Knicks everywhere, all platforms. Just as it's spelled right up there, @Guard Up Knicks. And I'm assuming you're gonna ask me what my favorite one of the two.
Yes, sir.
were.
Yes, sir.
I gotta go with the cranberry as well. Cranberry.
Dang.
I like the cranberry. The Japanese cherry tree, I liked it. It just was a little bit. It had a little bit of a kick. It was a little spicier. On the back end.
right.
But I didn't dislike it. I just
All right.
like the cranberry more.
Yeah, I got you. And that's crazy because I thought mine was going to be the creamsicle when they sent them over, which I do absolutely love. But for
Yeah,
me,
it's good.
it was the Japanese cherry tree. I thought that was absolutely incredible. I thought it was just so unique, the flavors that you got out of it.
Yeah.
Unlike anything I've ever tasted, and I'm a whiskey connoisseur. So shout out to Good Times. If you guys can and you're into whiskey, please support those guys.
Yo, we gotta kick the tires on the blue and orange and blue skies private barrel.
Yeah.
And see if we can make that happen.
Yes.
Let's talk offline and see what we got to do for that.
We're definitely going to do it. We've already got offers from some other brands as well to fly out and go pick a barrel from Brother Justice and 2XO. So we'll definitely try to figure out maybe a trip to Kentucky to pick all those and kind of just document the whole thing, which would be fun as can be.
Sick. Yeah.
So thank you also for supporting what we do here. We truly, truly appreciate you guys. Support every single person on the Nick of Time show. Like, seriously, this is a family. We love supporting one another. We love doing what we can. Like you see in the chat, people want that Lee Escobedo private show. You never know what's cooking.
Private show? Hey, yo.
Hey,
Whoa!
I'm out. I'm not buying into that trade.
I'm not looking behind that curtain.
That's an expiring contract for me, dog.
No,
All right.
It's the OnlyFans. It's just me roasting people the whole time.
You got Phil all caps down here.
Oh,
Apparently, you got
God.
Lee no pants up there. It's
Oh man, that's my love Phil, man.
But anyway, support everybody.
Yeah,
Hopefully, a Lee show is coming. Me and Al are talking once he goes on leave very soon. We're going to do a happy hour show where we have a sip of whiskey and just talk about what's currently going on in the afternoon at around 3 p.m. So hopefully that'll launch very soon, as well as soon as things slow down for Queen Ebony, we will be doing a once a week morning show, her and I, called Orange and Brewed Skies, over not whiskey in the morning because that's a little crazy, but it will be coffee in the morning. So Orange and Brewed Skies with Phil and Ebony. And so hopefully that'll be launching soon. So thank you guys so much. I was in the kitchen and heard that pause. Oh man, that's hilarious. But appreciate you guys all. Until next time, please drink responsibly if you drink. And if you know someone that is drinking and not drinking responsibly, snag their keys and make sure that they don't go anywhere. But like always, thank you guys for supporting us. Support every single person. Shout out to the team at KOT. Ryan, Jay Ellis, B, Fritz, Ebony. Anyone else? I don't think I'm missing anyone else. That's the whole squad. So we appreciate you guys all. They'll be here tomorrow after the game. Is it tomorrow?
Sure. Yep.
All right. What do you
From the
guys think?
Trailblazers.
Last thing, just give me a win or loss. Lee, tomorrow, win or loss?
Win for sure.
All right.
Who we got? I don't
Al,
even know who we
Portland.
Portland.
got. Portland. W.
All right. Apollo.
Dub.
I believe it's a dub as well. Hopefully, it's also an interview for Drew Holiday. So let's see how that goes. And until next time, God bless you guys, and we will see you next week right here. Deuces.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em a shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling in. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in.